Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear us
Hello.
all right? Hey. welcome back to House of Horrors. This is episode 2 with David Romero. Uh, Hope
Hello,
everyone
everyone.
made it in time. And here we got David as, oh, there we go, as a
Oh, it's
little,
so cool.
uh, is it a bat?
Yes, a
A
little
bat.
bat skeleton.
It's great. I love it.
uh, hey, everyone.
Hey, everyone saying hello in chat. Yes, I've been excited for this one. So much cool werewolf stuff to talk about, and just stuff in general.
Yes.
David and I were talking before the stream started because we were like waiting for the timer, and we're already getting started with cool topics. JJ, you have no idea who David is. That's a great opportunity for me to say, well, who David is. Let me send you guys David's Twitter because I think that's the quickest thing I can find. But yeah, David is one of the greatest horror artists I know.
Oh no,
And
yo.
I know a lot of horror artists, so. For real though, David is incredibly creative and so talented. And something I've noticed when working with you is that you are incredibly fast. I don't know how you do it.
I think, yeah. I don't try to be fast, but I just that's just how it is.
I don't know. You'll see it later. You'll see it later because you guys haven't seen these pieces that we've just done. We did a piece, a collaboration piece for this stream that we'll be posting later, of course. But it's of course a werewolf theme thing. And I was like, okay, I'll do this part. David, you do this one. We'll each do like a little. I do a photo manipulation. David does a drawing. And like, great. I send David my part, and David takes like a day and sends me back 3 separate drawings.
When I did the first one, it like when I replayed the time lapse, it was so quick. I was like, oh no, I like should I do more? Like maybe I should do like a couple more just to test it out and see.
Oh
And
god.
it ended up being like 3 minutes worth, or I think like 5 minutes. But we'll see.
I put it a little bit slower, so it should be like 5 minutes worth of video. It's a good
Awesome.
it's a good amount of video, no worries, and it's no problem because we'll play it, and each little part will be kind of looping on itself. So yeah, it won't be a huge problem.
Yeah, and we'll talk about our influences and all the werewolf lore and everything.
Yes. Should we start with that? There's a lot of werewolf stuff to talk about, I think. Uh,
Oh yes.
the idea was literally like we were. I think you literally just had followed me on Twitter, and I was like, I sent you a DM like excited. Oh, David, I love your work, uh, and I don't know where like how we came upon talking about
Yeah.
collaborating on something, but it was like on that same conversation. It didn't take long at all.
No, yeah, like, and I don't know where the idea like initially came from, but like, yeah, we just wanted to collaborate on something, and I suggested werewolves.
Yeah, the idea was yours. You said, I don't recall exactly your wording, but it was like Werewolf Nights or Werewolf Secret Society, I think you might have said. I think that might have been
Yeah,
the
because
wording.
at the time I thought like I realized not much has been done with like werewolves and like that, and I thought that could be like an interesting like monster to look into because vampires they get all the glory, but something like
Yeah.
werewolves they rarely get touched,
Yeah,
and
it's
like
like applying the concept of vampires, of like that high society monster, but to
yeah,
werewolves. And I think that's very cool. I think that this.
it's been awesome.
Yeah, I've loved it. I love all the lore, and especially like what people have come up with, because we can only come up with so much. And
Yes. Oh my goodness. I did not expect the collaboration from everyone and from
amazing.
Claire and Hannah and oh my goodness, like so many great
Yes.
artists have really done some awesome work that I didn't expect.
Yeah, and we kind of like threw it out there, and as we were discussing it, we were like, we should encourage people to add to it, to like bring uh, their own like. We didn't know if anybody was gonna do it. We were like, we'll encourage people, and if people want to jump in, that'll be great. And there was a ton of people adding their stuff, and there was stuff like uh, from just people taking that idea of history plus werewolves and doing their own thing and kind of like just creating their own world, but like tangentially related. There were people like going much deeper, like much closer to the canon things we had built. But all of that was great. I love seeing both of those avenues.
Yeah, totally. I love it so much. And the work that you have done as well, like God, I love it.
And yours, I think my favorite is I don't know the name we ended up giving her, but the werewolf lady, that's the preserved body.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yes, based on like the preserved saints.
yes. Oh my god, that one was yeah, I just love it.
That's another great thing about this is just because we just based it on history. It's like this is just
Yeah,
taking history and like just applying werewolf lore to it.
exactly.
But it led to so many like fascinating avenues.
Yeah, I love and I loved coming up with trying to fit a historical explanation, like a specific historical setting, not like in general werewolves in history, but try to find this Order of the New Moon, how they were created and how they evolved over time. I since I'm Spanish, so I tried to find something I know about history to not like make any big missteps, and it ended up coming back to literally the early Middle Ages in the region I live in, like a very local thing, very local story that I took and extrapolated into the whole werewolf lore, and it's like the family that ends up being the kings of Castilla, and creating that order is comes from this tiny little family that's local in a place. So it's like this huge historical coincidence ends up becoming the seed for the creation of this whole world. I don't know. I found it
Yes.
funny to take this tiny little detail that I know of because I'm from that region.
No, I love it so much, and I love that kind of like yeah, almost like a hidden history or like something that is recorded but not for humans. Like it's uh
Yeah,
it
that
runs
we can only
alongside.
glimpse at whatever like little things have escaped from their grasp. Like
Yeah,
that was what we were. I guess our intention with this was kind of a fake museum where they're presenting all these artifacts. That's why all of them
yeah,
are like a skull and uh, a statue, those kinds of things. It's like you're
yeah,
finding this in a
mummies and
museum.
exactly.
But yeah, I love all the pieces we came up with. And Han is here in chat. Bad Dog also made some incredible things that you'll see that Han's piece. I
Oh,
think sometime next week. I don't recall what day it was, but I think like Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. Yes, it's one of my favorites.
yes. Oh, I cannot wait to show the new pieces.
Yes.
The new this second arc. I think it's the second arc.
Second, well, it's
Uh,
the third one because we did the original series, which was the Order of the New Moon. Then we did the one with the Viking ship and the like that explored the whole like big mouth thing they have, the Valkyrie's
Oh, yeah.
grin, which was a bit of a short one, and then we're doing this. So technically the third arc we've made.
Third season. Yes.
Third season. Faya says, Ed will never share the piece I did. Well, share yourself. Faya did a piece while I was on stream, and it was basically like a cat boy, but werewolf. And he tried to make it into the canon, but it didn't fit. One day it will.
Yeah, that would be something. That's something that I always personally find interesting. Is like, what would something like how would a werewolf react to a vampire or like an alien?
God, that would be a wrench, throwing a wrench into the whole series to make it
right. Yeah,
to
just like
suddenly say now there's vampires.
now there's ghosts. Deal with that.
And we have to fit them into the whole history. Oh God.
Yeah. Oh, and then it would just get so convoluted.
One day, perhaps. One day. See, if everybody buys the magazine we're making, then so if you guys don't know, this will be officially revealed, I guess. I hope to have it finished sometime this week, but we're doing a little magazine to go with the whole werewolf series, and it's going to have all the pieces we've done for all the main parts, plus some extra stuff. And it's going to look like one of those history magazines. I actually got an example here. It's in Spanish, but it's a National Geographic magazine. It's one of those, like, you know, those history magazines you get in airports. And that have like all the big pictures and stuff. So it's going to be like that. I'm currently hoping to finish it soon.
It's looking so good so far. I'm loving it.
Yes, I hope the rest looks as good as the sample I sent you. We'll see.
I believe I love this kind of stuff where it's like, I recently checked out the Mystery Flesh Pit because I never had before.
Yes, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like I love the page layouts where it's like this is so fascinating. It's right up my alley.
Yeah, I agree. I love the Flesh Pit. They do fantastic stuff. Maybe I'll bring them here someday. Trevor, I think, is I don't recall the surname. The person who runs it. It'd be cool.
It's so great.
Yeah, it's fun because they're pretty like anonymous, really. It's not the kind of artist that, you know, runs an account under their name and just post their things there. They have an account, of course, but they're posting all that Mr. Flashpit stuff just on its own, so it feels pretty anonymous.
And because it's just like a Tumblr blog, I think.
Yeah, I think it's mainly a Tumblr blog. I think that they do have accounts on Twitter and other places, but it's mainly just a Tumblr blog. But yeah, I wish they were less anonymous, right? So hopefully I can bring them on to talk here. Yeah,
because like the artwork they've been doing for it is really cool.
It's great. They've been doing some cool Photoshop stuff too, and you know, I gotta find my peers in the Photoshop, in the historical Photoshop.
And it did remind me of your stuff too. Like
yeah,
it's just so cool.
Definitely, a lot of people comment that. Hey, you should check out Mr. Flashfield. Yep, I know.
Yep.
But it's great. It's great. I love this little internets projects.
Yeah, I've been seeing like more and more, and so many great talented people.
And you've done a lot of fun art for stuff you like. Like I was just taking some artwork to put in the little slideshow we're seeing in the corner, and I was saying like your Magnus Archives art, for example, is fantastic. I love that one.
Oh, thank you.
I love like all of that collection, because I recently listened to it, and I remember seeing them when they came out and being like, "Ooh, spoilers! I won't look at them right now." Then I completely forgot, and now recently, someone reminded me of them. I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot.
Magnus Archives is so good, and I should do more fan art because there are it's so dense. There's a lot of like things in the Magnus Archives that
Oh yeah,
uh, you could do so much fan art of.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean every episode can pretty much have some cool visual piece done within.
Mhm.
But sometimes they're hard to represent, I imagine, but if you
Well,
put
yeah,
your
because it's
mind to
very
it.
much like it's like the perfect audio media because it's like you can just imagine like
Yeah.
anything, uh, and they do such a great job of like getting that atmosphere. It's so good.
Yeah, I really like them. For me, obviously, there's stories you like more and stories you like less. There's a million of them, so understandably, but there's a like a specific, uh, more cosmic horror genre they tackle sometimes that I think
Yeah,
can only be represented, as you say, in writing. I don't think it's very easily representable in a visual form, so it can only kind of exist there, I think.
that's true, and sometimes it doesn't even it does do the horror really well, but it also goes into other genres where it's like sometimes it'll just feel like science fiction or it'll feel like a fantasy,
Yeah,
uh, and it works. It all works so well.
yeah, it's great. It's a great anthology thing. I don't think I've seen, like, in terms of execution and like variety of ideas. I love it.
Mhm.
Like they have these I guess themes, like like these gods of fear, we can call them, that uh, they kind of each episode focuses on one of them. So there's like fear of the dark, or fear of tight spaces and claustrophobia, and each of
Oh
them will have
yes,
a different like impacts.
yeah, and they have like avatars that like these icons that sort of like work through them, and they got followers, and it gets so dense. But man, it has some really cool lore.
It does, it does. You know, we love lore over here. That's a
Yes.
takeaway. We're here for the lore. God, and there's so much werewolf lore we never wrote anywhere, and I'm noticing that when I was writing the whole text for the magazine, I was like, oh, so many half remembered things. I had to go back to old chats and read again because I should
Oh
have
yeah,
taken
because
better
there's so
notes.
much, and there's like a lot of like potential for like moments in history that we haven't even like touched on yet.
Oh
Um,
yeah, definitely. And there's stuff I didn't consider touching too much because it is hard to represent it well. Say like, obviously this like a whole history of whoever was in power at the time, right? Because these werewolves have always managed to stay in power over changes in systems and centuries.
yeah,
So there's obviously all the bad stuff that comes with power that we didn't really touch on too much. But there's like, I don't know, throughout the modern era, you got like all sorts of colonialism, which
mhm.
the werewolves would have been there, of course, and they would have participated. We I didn't touch into that too much because it gets touchy quick, of course.
Yeah, that's true. Um, but yeah, it is uh, that whole theme of like power grabbing
Yeah,
and like trying to stay in power like through bloodlines and things like that, and how like that can really be messed up.
yeah, yeah. And someone suggested like before today, and like a couple hours ago must have been, I saw a comment saying, oh, have you done werewolf crusaders? And I was like, oh, the crusades would be such a cool thing to tackle with the werewolves. They have this whole knightly thing and this whole false honor and the guise of Christianity to actually like just spread your power, and that's it's like very much the whole theme of the lycanthropes. But I'm like, I love history. The Crusades are incredibly complex, and
Yes.
I would have to read so much about them before being comfortable to say enough to say, oh, let's do something set in the Crusades, or at least take like something a very specific moment that you could find and say, okay, I can read about this specific moment, which is a bit easier to tackle, and try to do something around that. For example, could be a
Yeah, we'd have
possibility.
to really do our homework. And even things like that would be like obvious to do, like was it the French Beast?
Yeah,
There was like a
Givaudan.
the beat, yeah.
Givaudan. That's, I
Yeah,
don't know
it's
how
like,
it's pronounced.
yeah, we tried or we've humored the idea a bit of doing something with that, but
Yeah, there's actually some
uh
references to that specific story in Hannah's artwork that will come out sometime this week. So the name is dropped, the name Givaudan, but the story itself, I actually, God, I just remember you did like a little series of drawings that you never posted anywhere. You never ended up posting.
oh
There was a
yeah, and I
bunch of
still have them.
noblemen with their werewolves next to them. That you should post them sometimes, just like on their own. They're done.
Oh yes.
You can.
Yeah, totally. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I almost forgot about those. Like I still have them, but yeah,
how
I should just post them.
how much art do you make that you don't post? Because
Oh, there's a lot, and even like I've been working on like comics and things under NDA that I can't share yet, but I'm
mm,
so excited to once I get the chance.
yeah.
I've been so busy.
Oh, I'll talk to you later in private about that. I want to know.
Oh yeah,
What's-
definitely.
oh, but I thankfully haven't had the 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 bad luck of working under an NDA. All my clients so far have been like small things that uh, they'd rather me work on it openly and name drop them to nothing because it's like I'll talk about it on my Twitch stream and they're usually fine with it. So far no
Nice.
NDAs, thankfully.
Oh, thank goodness.
Sora says, David, did you just forget to post the art you spent so much time creating?
Sometimes, or sometimes, like I just decide like I don't know if this is like postable, and it's just
God. And we'll have to decide what like how to post the one we did for this stream. Because you made 3 pieces. So I guess we'll post
oh yeah,
like the combined one that will be shown at the end. And then like under that you can post the other 2, for example, or we can post one with the 4 of them.
yeah. I maybe under like a thread, like we do the main post and then
Yeah.
the other designs like under it.
Yeah. Oh, you guys will see. We'll show it later. I won't get ahead of myself, but yes, there's like all 3 interpretations are very good. So it was hard to choose one.
I love the skeleton design that I'm glad you went for the dark tarry kind of like brownish.
Yes, that was
Like
you'll
like
see. You'll see. That was hard to make, hard to get that tone correctly. You'll see. I'll be going back and forth doing the little time lapse because thankfully we don't do this kind of thing live.
oh yeah,
Because
oh my goodness,
if
yeah,
we're
we'd have
doing
to
the
talk
art
while
live,
drawing and
I actually like considered it when I was considering the like this whole show plus podcast idea. I was like, it would be fun to do some art for it, but it should be something that is pretty limited because you're not gonna like spend hours upon hours on stream just finishing this one piece, right? Do it
yeah.
live, says Fayan. Come on, shall we start again and just do it live?
Last time in one of the werewolf projects, we did sort of like I remember I dropped in one of your streams and like
Oh,
that was what
yes.
that's kind of the start of the whole like collaborating on on a piece.
Yes. Okay, so that is one of the more modern ones we did, and let me see if I can fish it out real quick, because it's nice to have this little moment where everything is in the same place. One of the good things that Twitter lets you do. And there was this one piece where you'll see like the main werewolf. So you'll go in the link in the chat, and the picture on the right, there's like this little werewolf peeking from the corner, and that David just drew. Like David popped in on stream, was in chat, and I was like, "Oh, let me draw a werewolf, and we'll put it into the picture." And it all happened in the same time. So that was actually very cool, very fun moment. And we also have um the next part that will be posted for the whole silver thing is done between me and Claire. And Claire did a 3D model, and I adapted the 3D model, and that is I think it might be one of my favorites of the whole series. It's the armor you
Yeah.
see, yeah.
Yes. Oh, I cannot wait for everyone to see.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I think I've this whole idea started with just thinking about werewolf knights, and this like just making a cool werewolf armor was very
Because that's
fun.
like the most metal thing you could think of.
And it goes into a silver thing because it has silver decorations in it, so it kind of works as like that status symbol.
Yeah. Oh, I love the way you worked that lore into it. It's so good.
I mean, one of the things I've gotten used to doing is having an image and trying to come up with lore for it. Like after the image is done, I like to just think of something.
Yeah, and it's always fun because you notice little things that you didn't notice as you were drawing it, and you realize, oh, I can add that into the story as well.
Yeah, yeah. There's a bunch of during this series. There's a bunch of stuff that just like came up after the drawings, because we did the whole writing after the drawings were done. So there's a bunch of things that we came up with like on the spot that ended up working for the final lore and the final piece.
Yeah, I'm so amazed that it all fits so well.
And I think one like the logo we did was kind of done on the spot. I don't recall
Oh yeah,
which piece we did it for.
it was. It must have been for the knights, right? It was like their house symbol.
Yes, yes, it might have been for one of the first ones we did. For
Because
the
that
for the
was very early
triptych,
on.
maybe for the medieval triptych. Or like we should come up with a cool logo for this. I'm like, okay. So I started looking up um, this like knights orders medieval logos, and and actually like how that fed into the lore. That's fun because at first it was just like a knight's order. We didn't have the specific lore behind it, like where it came from. And I started looking at symbols for knights orders to base this our symbol on. And I kept finding Spanish knights orders, and they all have these cool, like they all have similar symbols, similar-ish, where they have this cross with little flowers at the end. Like the Orden de Calatrava is one of them. I forget the others, but the Calatrava is the biggest one, is the most well known. So since I based the logo on it, I was like, okay, now we can work that into the lore, and that's how the werewolves started. Like, ended up coming from Spain. It was like literally just a coincidence, trying to explain away the design decision.
You did such a great job, and I remember the lunar cycles like that came afterwards as well. Uh,
Yeah,
but that was such a good touch. And I added that on the triptych as well, where it's like, oh, like sort of like moon cycles, like waning and waxing to the full moon. And
Yes, and the new moon is at the end with the night. It's great. It's great.
so cool.
We ended up adding some more lunar cycle stuff. I think it was, yes, on the same one we were talking about before, where there's this meeting and they have these necklaces, this huge like Freemason style necklaces. So I added the moon cycle to each piece of the necklace, and if you zoom in, you can actually see it's just
So
it's such a
cool.
tiny detail, but
Oh yeah, I remember that for the yes, in the more modern werewolves.
yes, in the black and white ones. That was one of those
Yeah.
things that nobody will notice, I guess, but you know, I like to add them.
Oh yeah, that was so cool seeing them in the stream.
And another one we added to the most modern one, where there's a wedding, and I added a plant in the background that's wolfsbane, and
Oh yes.
it's such a tiny thing that I don't know anybody will first like notice it and then recognize it's wolfsbane, but if one person did it, then I'm good. My work is done. I love doing that kind of thing. It adds a little.
Yeah, and it's so some of this stuff just writes itself because it's like everyone sort of knows of werewolf, like the trappings of like werewolf lore,
Yeah,
and it's like you can just apply them.
or subvert them, like
Yeah.
just do the opposite thing, like we're doing with silver, right? Silver
Yes.
doesn't harm them in this world. Silver is actually something they seek, and you'll see why.
Yes.
I won't spoil. Guys, look out for the next few parts in the coming days. I like teasing. I gotta tease them. But yeah, we came up with this whole convoluted story about silver, just as an excuse to go through their history again and highlight little moments.
Yes. And it's also we don't do the biting, like you don't, the werewolf curse doesn't spread. It's more like hereditary.
Yeah, how did we come up with that? Like, why did we choose? I don't recall that decision.
I think it was through like, by the time we got to like the sort of Spanish royalty, because there was also like history of like, oh, the hierarchies like happen within the family, so there's a lot of like inbreeding like that goes in that history as well.
Of course,
And
yeah,
we just
we were
thought,
talking about inbreeding and the Habsburgs.
and it's like, wouldn't that, yeah, it's like, would that be messed up if you just applied that to werewolves? And that's how they kept it on for so long.
Yes. Oh god, and the inbred werewolf you did. That is such a good piece. It's so good.
He was fun to do.
Yeah, I recall your I guess inspiration image, which was like an ugly dog.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's so good.
Like a cross between like a bull terrier and
Yes. Yeah, and we also like deliberately made them more dog-like as we went on.
Yes, like pugs, where it's like pugs do not, they're not supposed to look like that.
Exactly, like they've inbred so much that they've ended up, and some of them, if you go to the more modern stuff, you'll see some of them look more, the ones that are in the position of power, like the main guy in the wedding. It looks like pretty. It's still a dog, and you can still see more dog-like than wolf-like, but it's more pure looking, but then there's like the ones that are in the background, the ones that are not the first in command that we're showing, but the other one are, they are more, you know, they have these stubby noses, and they've kind of like bred themselves into this terrible
Oh,
situation.
we should do more with that, because I always loved because in popular media there's like the most popular werewolves is the more wolf looking werewolf, but I also fancy the ones that are like wolfman werewolves, where they are much more flat faced and it's much more human than wolf.
Yeah,
uh
I really like that as
we
well.
should do yeah, we should do something with that, because they also have their own aesthetic that is pretty charming.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess we like kind of approached it. I do recall someone did, not us, but someone did a more Wolfman thing.
Yeah. Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about, and
Uh,
I liked it. It was like, oh,
yes,
this is so cool looking.
I actually I just found it. I put it on the chat if you guys want to see it. And it's a classic
Yes.
Wolfman, and it's a whole history about the Mexican emperor. So
And
it
that
works
is
out very
so
well
perfect.
into the world.
So perfect for Mexico. Yeah,
Yes.
more Wolfman Wolf.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. It should, if we can find a cool way of integrating that into the lore, it would be fun.
Yes.
See, it's lore.
And maybe
Lore is
even like,
created all the time.
yeah, I would love to be more ambitious and do like rival houses,
Yeah. Oh god.
but that would be quite ambitious.
Hey, if someone eventually pays us to translate this into any medium,
Ah,
we'll have an excuse.
yeah, to continue and do the world build to our heart's
Exactly.
content.
Honestly, like you could build on this world eternally. Like you can do all of Western history, pretty much cover that
Yes.
with werewolves. You can find werewolves in other sculptures and see how they might have worked and how they might have been different.
Hmm.
Like we touched on that in not as much on the main series, but in other little things we've done. I did one with Theo, a friend who painted some cool Slavic patterns on a skull. I prepared, and it was like all about werewolves in pagan in Slavic pagan cultures,
Yeah.
and how they actually were like protectors, and there's like anonymous protectors of a village instead of being, you know, tyrants. And
That's another aspect that like, and it went into like that Midsommar kind of like uh a series of pieces, where it was
yes,
like, what if they were like gods, or like what if they were worshipped
yeah,
by certain sects, and it's like, that is fascinating.
God, there's so much stuff to explore just within this little world. But
Yeah.
it's great. It's great. It leaves a lot of leeway for not only for us, for like other people if they wanna take it on.
Yeah, I love the collaborative nature that of it all, and how people have just been applying their own take on this.
Yeah, yeah, like even very different stuff that wouldn't fit as much into the series. It's still like spurred them into doing that. So for me, it's amazing.
Yes. Oh, one of the most unique ones was uh, artwork. I think it was like werewolf artwork, but it was like expressionist looking.
Oh yes,
I don't know.
yes, I found it since I have all of them open in a tab here. I put it on the stream's chats. You guys want to see it?
Ah, so
It's
cool.
like
Yeah, here it
cubists.
is. It's all. That was so unique. Like, I love that.
Yeah, a great take. Great, I love it. But yeah, that's why like it's fun to leave it in the open like this, because people are gonna come up with stuff we didn't even consider. So
Yes, anyone can drop in and do something for this world.
yeah, actually, if you're listening right now and want to contribute, there's no like time limit, there's no rules. Somebody asked me before, are are there any rules? And I'm like, no, just
Yeah,
look at the ones that are already out there and do whatever.
yeah,
There are no rules.
it's the usual werewolf stuff. Like anything you know about werewolves, it probably applies in some way.
Yeah, or in a different one if we wanna tackle it in a different way. But
Yeah.
you got the link in chat to the whole collection, at least the ones that are on Twitter, that I could collect into this little thing. In case you want
Yes,
them.
more Catboy werewolves.
What can werewolves? What if werewolves watch anime? Well, Faya, I want you to explore that. May or may not be making something else for the Silver series. Han, what are you making?
Ooh.
Oh, I'm excited.
What?
You can't leave us like this in the middle of a stream. You gotta tell us. It's a
It's a
secret.
secret.
Come on. Can't do that.
Oh, it's so exciting.
And even the take that we're doing today, that we're going to be showing in a little moment now, is just like taking it to an extreme and going like very, very ancient.
Oh yeah, as old as we can get.
As old, yeah, pretty much as old as you can get. And we didn't set it. I guess in the moment we put it down and we write the lore, wherever the tweet or the post, we'll have to come up with an approximate year, right? So we'll try to set it to something realistic, but with no year set, it's just like very, very ancient.
Yes. Oh, I even came up with I don't know if you had a name in mind for like I suppose the usual like scientific name
Yeah.
for an ancient werewolf
Oh.
would be Homo lupus.
Homo lupus,
Or
yes.
I also thought Lupus habilis, like because I think it's a nod to one of the ancient human primates like that existed. But I'll have to look more into that because it's like I can't just throw scientific words together. I would like to know like the
I do
meaning of
that all
them.
the time. I throw so many scientific words together, and people just believe it. Just so, if the idea is going in with enough confidence that people will
Exactly.
people will not consider it. We're starting our own werewolf secret society, feuding factions. Calcium hyperproficiency is real, says Agent. Yes, exactly. Well, that one was that I didn't come up with that name. That was from the Remember prompt. So I just took that one directly. I didn't try to come up with a scientific name for it, since the one that was there was already good. But I do try to come up with very I just make up any scientific name and do it on the spot, and it usually works.
Oh, someone mentioned the eerie Vembers. You did some amazing eerie Vember pieces.
Oh god, that was a month, a whole month.
Yeah.
I did 20, I want to say 26 pieces over the month.
Wow.
I didn't get to all of them, of course, but 26. And there's still like there were some that I didn't post within the month, but I think I still counted them in 26. If I remember to count them, it would be 26. If I didn't, it would be 28. So I might need to recount. There were 2 pieces that I did for the Fractal series, which I already posted that one. And then there's another one for the Big Bugs, which will come up soon enough, I hope.
Amazing.
But apart from that, 20 something pieces.
Wow.
You did a ton too.
Oh yeah, but like not as like my time was limited, so I was like I can only do like about 6, but I chose the prompts that were most interesting
Hmm.
sounding to me.
Yeah, and you did them super fast because or you either did them in like 10 days and posted them all at once. I don't know if how you did that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But
just
yeah.
like ahead of time. And
Hmm. But yeah, I suddenly see like 10 posts pop up, and it's all at once. It's what Trevor said about you is David will literally like disappear from social media for a month and suddenly come and post like 10 things at once, and they're amazing.
yeah, that's how like I wish I could be more social. I use my social media the proper way, but I just always just whenever I do something, I just drop it in, and it's like I'll be gone for a while.
I mean, you do it well, evidently. I mean, you're supposed to do it as well as any like as well as they should. So I think you're doing it well. I think the idea is not to like engage too much in uh, dumb social media drama.
Yeah, and it's good to like just keep mystery.
Yeah, I agree. You're doing it right, David, says Fire. Yes.
Uh,
You're the only one using social media, right? No,
yeah.
I've seen you post more in depth stuff in on Tumblr, which since I never use Tumblr, I didn't know.
Oh yeah, I like posting on Tumblr still, just because uh yeah, it's just more chill. It's more like I'll I'll just throw in I can even throw in like sketches, and it's like
Hmm.
it's nice.
Oh, that's cool. I wish I could follow that more, but I never used Tumblr. I think I even deleted my old blog,
Oh yeah,
or
like
it
some of it
might
has
just be
become
empty.
obsolete.
Yeah, yeah, and it came like it's it's sad because it's I remember using it back in like 2014 or something, and I liked it. Like I think in terms of art, it's much better suited for art than most
Tumblr
social
used to
media.
be like really good for like art and for scientific stuff. Like people would post like did you know this about the world? And it's like,
Yeah,
wow, this is like fascinating. Then it kind of just became like everyone posting drama, and
yeah.
it
I mean,
became
yeah. Of course, it's. I think every social media will have that, but uh, it was at least how I remember it, and of course, it's nostalgia. So
yeah.
grain of salt, but I did like it for art, and I did post a bunch of sketches, and I used it not when I was doing Photoshop stuff, but when I was trying more traditional arts, which I tried for a few years until I realized I actually just liked combining pictures together.
So nice.
but but yeah, I do have good memories of Tumblr.
Hmm. And I'm still using Tumblr.
Oh, but that's good. And I don't know like how many people are left there in terms of
Oh
user
yeah.
base. I think it's gone down over the years. I don't know how low it is right now. So it's probably like not the best social media if you want to like get more people to know you, but it's probably good in terms of you have this little core group of people.
Yeah, just like a small following.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that it has become just a little bit more active recently,
Oh, interesting.
which is nice.
That's cool. Maybe I should make a Tumblr at some point. I already have like enough trouble keeping all my social media updated. Like my Twitter, I take care of because like my main place and where I have most audience. But my Instagram, I completely forget about it for long periods of time sometimes. And I'm
Oh
like, oh
man, like
shit! And if you don't post constantly on Instagram, they just destroy your account.
yes. Oh, I tried doing like an ARG project on an Instagram, But other than that, I haven't made like like a personal Instagram account.
You made an. That's the first time I hear that. Did you make an ARG on
Oh,
Instagram?
oh yeah. But it's old. But it was like I approached it like an Instagram post story, but it was all drawn. But it was made to be like oh, here's this girl's like Instagram post. But then it starts evolving into like a horror story where it's like
Oh,
she's hearing strange things in the attic and there's weird things happening around her house. But and I kept it going for a while, but then I suddenly stopped it. I couldn't keep it up because I had to make more and more posts. But yeah, it was called Nocturnal. Um,
Nocturnal.
yes, let me see if I can find it. If it's still, it should still be up.
Oh, it's on a search like that. Nothing comes up. But yeah, it's definitely get me a link. Get everyone here in chat a link. I think
Oh
they
yeah, yeah.
they need to
I
see.
haven't. It is old, so I don't think the writing is up to snuff. But oh, here it is.
Oh, but still, it's cool. Oh, nocturnal. Okay. Oh, I love that. All drawn like that. That's very cool. I'll give it a look. I guess you got to look at it sequentially, right?
Oh yeah, it starts from the. So
From the
yeah, it's like
beginning.
backwards. It starts from the very end,
Yeah.
then you work your way up.
Yeah.
Uh, it got to a point where I wanted to try a thing where I would make another account of a completely different character and start updating that Instagram, and then the
Oh,
two stories would come together eventually.
connect. That's a very cool concept for an ARG type thing.
Yeah, I would love to revisit it. It's just that it was so rough and it was very experimental. I was just testing it out to see if something like this could work.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like if you do this, maybe instead of drawing every post, which is ends up being a lot of drawings you have to make. If you use photography and combine it a little bit.
That's the thing. Is like I did want to starting off the project. I did want like photographs, but it would require like people and probably like even like costumes or things like that. But
Yeah,
totally,
yeah, I agree. That's you gotta like set it up with some people, get some actors, even though like
yeah,
just
yes.
friends, or yourself as a protagonist. But
But that's still nostalgic because that's like early creepypastas. It's like just
yeah,
get a bunch of friends and
what
just
year is that? 2016. Oh, that's fantastic.
wow, 2016.
But I love that. I love that. It's like, or just say creepypasta vibes. I think you
Yes.
got a lot of creepypasta inspirations and just pieces you've done based on them, fan art, and it's fantastic.
Oh yeah, I really appreciate uh some of it. Like, I mean, most of it is not good, but I do love the spirit of creepypasta, which is
Mm,
just like creativity. Like anyone can make a horror story and just
yeah,
post it online.
yeah, it's great. It feels like campfire stories, which
Yeah,
like a digital equivalent of that. Like there is always this, you know, my father told me this, or my friend. There's always like not always, but it's very common to have that like first person elements or like
yeah,
this
like
second
an urban
hand
legend.
element. Yeah, yeah, and I really like that.
Yeah.
I should make something like that sometime. I made one thing that was in that vein, I guess, which was a thread I did where I slowly discovered that my family was haunted by a ghost, and I just found it through old family pictures. And
Oh
I
yeah.
actually,
Oh, I love
I
that story.
yeah, thank you. I really like it, and it's one of those things that can only work in this specific medium. Like it could only work as a Twitter thread. I can just update live. I guess if I wrote it in a different way, I could make it work for, I don't know, an Instagram account and use stories or something like that. But it was like always meant to be this Twitter thread, and just updated live. And you can't believe the amount of people that fell for it, because it felt very, very like firsthand and personal. And even people that actually knew my work and knew that I'm the guy that does Photoshop, were like into it in a like actually fell for it, and they told me later, oh, I believed it for a good while.
That's so cool, and it's probably because of the approach. Because it's like when you approach it like that, as like oh, this is like a ghost story, like that really happened in my family. It's so people believe it.
Yeah, this is sort of first-hand element. And it says, would have been a really good ARG. I guess so. I've always thought about doing ARG type stuff. I've actually practiced the ARG skills a little bit, and like in with that intention. But every month to my patrons, I send them a little postcard, and I started doing in the back of these postcards, I started putting like little ciphers, and there's like a little storyline you can uncover if you solve these like coded messages. And it's a lot like just ARG type stuff that, I like reading about people solving ARGs. I've never solved one live or actually I tried one, and it just turned out to be like a publicity stunt, and I lost interest very quick. But
that's so cool. Like an action. Yeah, it's a game.
Yeah, you're just putting a little game on the internet, and it would be fun to do something like that in earnest at some point. Now that I've practiced those little skills, I could repurpose some of those puzzles I did.
I heard on the last episode that you were interested in like a video game ARG, or like thinking of doing one at some point.
Oh, I would love that. Cursed video games. It's so good. There's so many, and it's kind of like the essence of the whole creepypasta genre, right? This cursed video games has such a recurring theme that, yes. I don't know, it feels, I've never done anything with video games, and I see Plastiboo's
oh my god, yeah, they just recently did like I love when they post like some of the video games they're working on, but they're like tests, but they look so good. They look so like legit.
Yes, yeah, they post like this little if you guys didn't see Plastiboo's series on video game things, it's like the box art that look like very happy, like old school game, and then the second like a screen capture from one part of the game, and it's always like very creepy or very strange. And it's fantastic. It's that sort of vibe I would like to capture someday.
Yes. Like that Petscop Animal Crossing.
Petscop, yes. Petscop is a great example. I love that one.
Love Petscop. It was so well done.
Oh, it's it's probably one of my favorite examples of that sort of thing. Like it's so well executed. It's like what we said before for that thread is like made for Twitter. It's like just exists as its own thing. Petscop is made as a Let's Play series, and it only works like that. It only works as the format.
Yes, and a YouTube Let's Play, like, because I mean, they're so popular now, but Let's Plays are like big on YouTube. Yeah, and it's like capturing that culture within Petscop was like a stroke of genius. It was so well done.
Exactly. Yeah.
Someone mentioned Catastrophe Crow, and that's another one that's like similar to Petscop, where it's like
Crow.
Someone found
that one.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. I think it's one video, but it was like it was sort of someone found an old game and they play it, and it's really messed up.
Oh, I mean, I love that kind of story, so I know I love it. I definitely gotta check it out. That sounds very fun. Sounds like
that one was really well done too.
My type of thing. Yeah, I love I do recall a lot of those old media or old video game stories, and I look back at God, what's the name? Uh, that one with Legend of Zelda was one of the most classic creepypastas, possibly.
Oh, the Ben drowned.
Bend Round, yes. God, I reread that one recently, and it's the writing. The writing is oof.
No bueno.
But still.
A lot of creepypastas, like I noticed that they were not really well written, but people really latched onto the visuals of them.
That's true. That's true. I think if you got good visuals, it
It's
can
like
really
the
bring it
potential to
together.
them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think that's where we visual artists come in and try to make that work.
Did Catastrophe Crow, like, because I last I remember it was like
Yeah.
I saw just one video of it, but maybe it grew. Oh, I gotta look into that.
Oh, interesting. Hey, Jordan's here. Welcome, Jordan.
Jordan, hey,
But
talking
yeah.
about creepypastas and video games and ARGs.
Yeah, I think, God, David, if I do make an ARG someday, I'll let you know. I'll let you into the secret.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
The idea is that, like, if you ever did an ARG, would you make it as like completely new sock puppet account? Like you just create a new account and just do this whole thing?
Oh, probably because I
secretly.
I personally love the element of surprise, where it's just drop something in and see how it goes.
Yeah, I've seen good examples lately. I thought that was the way to go, but then I've seen God, what's the name? It's a current ARG thing that's going on with a SpongeBob theory channel. The idea it's like this person Alex Bale who's done it posts it on their main channel, on his main channel. It's like a guy that's known to do this kind of thing. So it's obvious from the get-go that it's just this ARG and this like ongoing storyline, and people don't seem to mind that kind of thing. So I think it's not a terrible thing necessarily to do it from a previous account. Like if you and I from our accounts with already a bunch of followers just post something creepy, mysterious, and try to develop a storyline from there, I don't think that would be necessarily a problem.
Yeah, like in fact, the recent thing I did, it was like a animated short video of like a CCTV of like a woman running.
Yes. Oh God, I just saw that one. That was the other day, right?
Yeah, and I like I was thinking of posting that as like a series because I did not expect it to be like as big as it ended up being, because it was so, it felt very half developed for me.
Oh,
It was like,
it's fantastic. And
oh, thank you.
anything, I think anything you do a video on will catch people's attention in a completely different way.
I love doing animated horror.
Yeah, I've been trying to like touch that ever so slightly. One of them, the you remember posts I did was this. The prompts or the idea was the Kola well, which is the deepest borehole that we've ever dug, and it was done by the Soviets in the starting in the 70s, and they went like deeper than the Mariana Trench, and it's a fantastic setting for horror, right? So yeah. I did one image, and it was this kind of like long exposure like spirit or demon just coming up the well.
And yes, I remember that, and it was like a series of gifs, and you can see like the handprints.
Yeah, so at first it was just one picture. It was just like the one reveal with the creature in it, and I was like, this is not super good. Like it wasn't like the image itself. It's like you said before. Oh, this isn't good enough to post. So I was about to not post it, and then I said, what if I did some empty versions of it? It'll take me a second to just like modify the pictures. I just gotta like change the rocks so it doesn't look like the same picture every time. Move the camera around a little bit, and then just did a sort of slideshow with them. And I did that, and suddenly everybody loved it. I was like, this thing that I wouldn't have believed in.
It turned out so cool. Like it's such a haunting, like every time I see it, I love it.
There's a super deep movie about that. I read about it because I was looking up the borehole. It's a Russian movie, I believe, but it's like a kind of contagion movie, like some kind of infection comes up from the hole. I think that's a cool idea, but I haven't seen it.
Yes, I have. It's such a cool premise, but it's not very good. Because it's such a cool like concept, but the people, the actors, they don't react in the way that you would want them to. Where it's like, this is really messed up. Like you should be screaming, but they're usually very calm and very like, oh no. Like there's this woman, her bones are cracking through this like because the fungus is like possessing her body. And it's like, oh my goodness, this is like horrifying. But then you cut to their reaction, and it's like, oh no. It was such a shame because I was looking forward to that one.
But Jordan says had some great practical effects, and that's usually enough to convince me to watch something, even if it's just like for the effects.
Yes. Oh, it did have like some cool effects. Although the fungus kind of just looked like sprayed on. There was no like cool design to it.
Oh, that's a shame. I really like I never played The Last of Us, and I think they were for PlayStation. I've never had a PlayStation, so but I really like the designs for the enemies. And
yes, those are some great songs. Did you play? Did you see The Last of Us Part 2?
I didn't. I saw some gameplay of it because I never played it.
I don't know if I should spoil it, like because there is like the
because
cool...
there might be people in chat that don't know, but
oh, that's true. Yeah. So yeah, because I do love how they do evolve the zombie design, where it's like there's the usual like cordyceps, and there's even like variation between like when it's wintertime, sometimes the fungus has like a different consistency and coloration. It's like, that's so cool.
It's cool how they explored it. Yeah, it's world building.
It's so good.
I did this like possibly not anymore, but it used to be my most popular piece. Was the bone fungus, and I had so many comparisons to The Last of Us. That was like I watched The Last of Us gameplay after having done that piece because so many people compared it. I was like, did I accidentally copy this idea? I think it was different enough at the end, but
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because it was the skull and like the bone was growing out of it. But yeah, it did remind me of the zombies from Last of Us.
Yeah. So many people commented it. I was like, oh, did I copy this? But yeah, no.
But that is like did you base it on because I believe there's a real phenomena like that where like bone just grows and it looks floral.
There's like certain types of bone cancer, specifically like not something you'd see nowadays, most likely, especially in Western countries. But back in the day where you just didn't have anything against cancer, pretty much, there's these old skulls from people who had bone cancer, and they're completely like, you can see the growths in them, and a lot of people compared it to that, and that was actually like kind of an inspiration. But I always try whenever I do something medical, is I always try to make it outlandish enough that people can't think I'm trying to represent something real, right? Because if
Yeah.
I did it very close to the actual bone cancers and people said like, oh, is this some type of bone cancer? Then you get into the muddy area of real people have actually had that.
Oh yeah,
You're
true.
representing
And you
that as
do
horror.
and you
So
yeah, and you do want to like your goal is to like entertain. It's like not to.
yeah, exactly. So whenever I make up a fake disease, I just make something outlandish, and people still will believe it if you say like what we said before. If you say it with enough confidence, people will believe anything you
Yes.
throw at them.
Yes.
Because yeah, there's something about social media and it's a whole thing, and hoaxes
And
and
and I've seen some of those comments where it's like people trying to debunk like this is not real.
I've had a lot of fun with those people. So on occasion, usually I leave them alone. Sometimes I'll just reply, "Don't worry, it's Photoshop." If I see they're like worried or anything, but sometimes if they're like cocky about it and like, "Oh, don't you see that's clearly Photoshop?" and like clearly don't you see that I have art in my name, and if you click on my profile there's a bunch of Photoshop things, like do you think
Exactly.
I would like fall for it and try to share it? But some people just take it at such face value that you have to mess with them a little bit. You have to like break that bubble in a fun way.
Yes.
I literally the last one I had in that vein was some guy that replied, uh posting this kind of thing in 2021 is the kind of it's what's degrading society or something. Like it was a completely
Oh,
insane rant about how what I do is what's destroying society. I was
no.
flabbergasted. And I just said I went to my Discord and I started telling people, "Hey, can you just reply to this person?" This was under the post for the hands with teeth in them,
Oh
which was one of
yeah.
those that many people fell for, and and I told people just reply to this person. Don't look at your hands. And I think there were like 25 comments under that person just saying don't look at your hands, don't look at your hands, and it was very funny. we just we just mess with them in a light way. You don't want to like be super
Yeah.
annoying, but Sora asks, this reminds me of David. How do you feel about people's reaction to your art? You have a style that I personally find very unsettling. Makes me jump out of my seat when it appears unexpectedly. Uh, yeah, what do you think? How do you feel about people's
Oh,
reactions?
um, I I don't um sorry, I'm like I don't um I
It's
don't know how it
if there's
um
someone like freaking out, and like is there do you ever see someone in your comments or like uh, actually like concerned or freaking out a lot, or is that something you manage to avoid that reaction?
I mean because my goal ultimately is to like approach it as like entertainment. I don't want to like just disturb or shock for the sake of it. I
Hmm.
do try to make it so that there's a story to it, or that sometimes it's just like vent art or emotional. Like this is
Hmm.
just like I find beauty in this kind of like grotesque thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't think you do gore either. You don't do shock horror. Like it might be
no,
the
yeah.
visuals might be shocking, and then sometimes it's body horror, which really elicits that kind of reaction. But it's not. I don't know.
And I do prefer like
It's
a
not shock.
monster horror or like yeah, body horror that's like colorful and grotesque, but nothing
Yeah.
too real world like people killing each other or things like that.
Hmm.
That kind of horror doesn't really interest me. I like the supernatural. I like the monsters, the and all the more like fantastical stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to scroll down a lot and to kind of get all the things for the slideshow. And I saw a series you had done last winter, I believe, where you did a bunch of like Christmas creatures, and I hadn't
Oh
seen
yeah, and
that one. It's so lovely.
that on Tumblr, people just kept reblogging that like recently,
Mm,
because it's that time of year,
yeah,
and people remembered it. Uh, yeah, those were fun to do. Uh, Kind of in that SCP sort of like here's some lore to these images.
yeah, I love that. And I love how you took some folk stuff, from folkloric stuff. I always am a sucker for anything folklore. So
Yeah, folklore and urban legends and
yes,
cryptids. It's so cool.
it's the best. Question: do you think the art is a big part of the exponential follower growth, as opposed to if you were just posting prose horror? I feel like in a few of my friends' accounts who do horror art, it's been a huge leaps and bounds over prose posters.
Like,
I think the art is obviously a big draw on social media. So a lot of I think a lot of social media growth comes from uh, big like posts that make it big, and this is kind of like sudden spike.
yeah, and I have been like my approach has always been like just playing the long game. Like I've been in social media for I even posted like I started on DeviantArt and it's just like
Mhm.
just slowly the more you post, the more you keep at it, the more like people start following you.
It's a numbers
Um
game. It's you never know how algorithms are gonna work. Like you can approximate things that algorithm likes, things the algorithm doesn't. Ultimately,
yeah,
it's sort of pointless because it'll end up changing. So it can work for a while and then stop working. But
yeah, just post the kind of thing that you yourself would love to see. Make the kind of art
hmm,
that you yourself would love to see out there.
yeah, and if you put out enough and consistently and over time, yeah, it's a numbers game. Eventually, some of it will blow up more, and that'll kind of send you on your way. And there's not, it's not like that's a foolproof thing. I'm sure there's a million people, and we're probably a very biased uh, uh, group here. That there's probably a million people who have been posting for years and years and never got anything to blow up. But that's the only advice we can give. Though Jordan specifically said, I can't remember when I first followed Val, but it was a long time ago. Yes, I like, and that was like a kind of a stroke of luck because I think I you followed me, and we started like talking when I started posting the first bug stuff, which was like the very first horror stuff I ever did.
Yeah.
And I maybe had like 90 or 100 followers on Twitter. It was like that amount. I had more on Instagram, but they hated horror over there. So I was like seeing if Twitter could work better for something more story based. and
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 the horror community in Twitter is like amazing.
yeah,
Where like
yeah.
everyone shares and like loves the stuff that they've been making. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's definitely much better in Twitter. And yeah, I was following that whole community and stuff, but I was I was a nobody. I was literally just starting with horror, like making horror. I always loved it, but and I talked to Jordan and I don't know. Jordan had like I don't know how many, like tens of thousands of followers. I don't recall how many, but obviously, like not the kind of account I was expecting to reply to me. I was like this newbie. I was like, what textures did you use for this paper or whatever? Like just a completely innocuous question. And Jordan was like, "Oh, your art is very cool. I'll send it to Trevor." And and Jordan sent it to Trevor, and from there it started blowing up because Trevor has this huge like wave of followers he can send you away if you
Oh yeah.
from time to time. So there was this obviously this kind of stroke of luck that I don't know how I would have gone without that. Maybe I would have been in the same place, maybe not. I have no idea. Can't go back in the past, but that's definitely a factor, right? Like just talking to people, just being involved, and
Yeah, and Twitter was I think Twitter is like the perfect place to do that because it's like it's half social and half portfolio,
yeah,
where it's like people can just share. And there's a great horror community on Twitter that you can just share so many things with and get people to notice you.
I think Jordan says, I love the horror community. I'm just curious about the spread because I've been toiling in fields and have definitely plateaued. I believe that if you added some visual element to the prose, Jordan, and I've seen you've been doing some more visual stuff, that would definitely be a good help. Because people will latch onto an image and then read what's like they'll see the image first and then read what's on top. That's how the human brain works. So it's like a nice target you can put.
Yes. Or also like the way some old creepypastas did it is that they wrote and then the payoff was like an image at the end. That a couple of stories did that, but I'm blanking on the names of them. But it's like that could also be like leading up to a scare.
Yeah, that's true. Though that depends on like where you post it. I feel like Twitter, for example, like specifically Twitter, since we're talking about that, has that very quick feel where if you don't catch people's attentions in the first tweet, they won't read the rest of the thread, right? So
yeah,
I've noticed that you have to like kind of sometimes I have to switch the story. Like when I post longer threads, like the megalomorpha, the big bug stuff, I usually have to find a way to put some of like the best images on top so they call people's attention and then you post the rest and you can leave some good stuff for the end. But sometimes I have to like restructure this how I would tell a story a little bit just to kind of like call people's attention at the very least.
Yeah, totally.
The image in the end is the perfect punch in the gut. That's all right. Yes, leaving a good image for the end is always great. You've done David some amazing threads that end up with that sort of image. I recall that one of my favorite ones is that underwater one where there's a statue hidden underwater.
Oh yeah, that one.
That was fantastic.
Thank you. I love doing like, and especially with that thread where it was like half animation and half like just journal entries, but they're like drawn and that one was fun to do.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
And ending in a jump scare where it's just like yes. Oh no, the statue's alive.
Oh, spoilers! I guess.
Oh no!
Spoilers if you
yeah.
didn't see it.
Oh, another one that I would love to revisit someday is the angels one.
Oh yes, the angel in the church. Yes, that is like one of my favorite things of yours. And you know, biblical angels. They're always cool. They always get a good.
Yes, because they're so freaky.
Yes. It's good, and it's become a meme thing as well, which can sure like help spread the thing, but also takes away a little bit of the mystery of those types of angels. So
that's true. Yeah, because they have been done. Like I've seen a lot of really good ones.
Yeah,
but yeah, at this point, it has been pretty well explored.
That's true. I do still think those like elements, those like a bunch of wings and a bunch of eyes is always a cool element to explore. I don't know if you saw one I did on during E-Remember with Claire, who drew the angel, and I put it on the picture. I used some textures and stuff to hide it into the picture, and it was this huge angel just in the mountains, like in the distance, full of like rotten and full of holes. It's
I don't know if I remember.
let me find it for you in the chat. because I
That sounds
think
awesome.
it's one of my favorite recent things I've done, and Claire is fantastic to work with.
They're so cool. I love the Claire does animation as well, right?
Yes,
I've been seeing like amazing animation work.
yes, I've been doing a lot of animation. Yeah, you got there on chat, you guys, if you want to see the big angel. But yeah, we went like rotten and full of holes. Kind of like
Oh,
just
that's so cool.
a different take on that biblical angel, because it's been done a lot. So a dead
Yeah.
one is, I don't know, something a bit spicy, a bit different for once.
Oh, I love this. It's like, yeah, like Mountains of Madness more than
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah, and the thing with angels is they have that sort of cosmic horror thing to them,
Yeah, definitely.
and they're this sort of, I think it's the realization of, oh, biblical things are real and they are terrifying. Like they're not like
Yeah.
what you're used to. It's always such a good counter, and not necessarily with angels, with that sort of religious stuff in horror. It's
Yeah, it fits
so good.
so well.
Hmm.
Do you remember Guillermo del Toro's The Strain?
Yes.
Uh, they made a show of it, but I remember in the original story, and especially in the comic, they go into the lore of the vampires, like the originator of this vampire virus.
Mm.
And I loved how they tied. It was it the Book of Job, where
Mm.
it was like three angels that fell to Earth, and one of them tasted human flesh for the first time.
Oh.
And that's how the vampirism started, where it was like, oh, it was just an angel that
Oh, I
grew
love
too
that.
attached to humanity and basically like fused with them and made like a parasite. And they were like eyeballs on wings kind of biblical angels. They look
Oh,
terrifying.
I love that. I love that. I love that. For me, it's either like abstract, eyes on wings and wheels, uh, that
Yeah,
sort
the
of
we
like very very monstrous, or either very very abstract, like something that comes out better in writing, more cosmic horror, right? Like
yeah.
that sort of like, it's a parasite. The angel, it's not something really visible per se. It's not like a huge entity in the sky. It's something a bit more subtle. I like that.
Yeah. Uh, oh, the Russian sleep experiment. I'm reading in
Yes,
the chat.
the Russian sleep experiment
I
thread.
would love to do more. Like I wish I could publish that story
Yeah,
into
God,
because
and
I tried.
that's another one of those creepy pastas that I think the idea is very cool. I think the writing, the originals writing towards the end. If you want to read it, I won't spoil it if you guys want to read it.
Oh
But
no, yeah, it's rough. It's
it's very
pretty rough
rough.
around the edges.
Yeah, especially towards the end. I do recall being terrified of it as a kid, and I really liked your thread.
Oh, thank you. I tried to, yeah, because with the I don't like the ending to Russian sleep experiment, but I tried to apply it in a way where it was like oh, here it is technically, but it's like not. It's more subtle.
Yeah, yeah, it's not the like, doesn't include all that writing.
Yeah.
You just represent it. Hannah says, when I first read it, I thought it was real. I fell for it. I mean, I guess depends on
Oh yeah, because
how old we were on the creepypasta craze, but I do recall when I was starting up, and I don't know how old I was, but I do recall seeing that creepypasta about Lavender Town. I think it was possibly my first ever connection with creepypasta. I don't know if you recall that one.
yeah, Lavender Town sounds so familiar.
Yes, it's that town from the first Pokemon, where it's like the creepy town with the ghost Pokemon. And
Oh,
apparently,
okay.
the story was that in the beta version or in the Japanese version of Pokemon or something, the music in that town had this like subliminal mess or like a tone that like messed with children's minds and led to like children killing themselves and like really weird stuff like that. And then there was even more stuff related to Lavender Town. There were several stories, but I did believe the one about children killing themselves because of the music in Lavender Town, and I was very spooked and remember like going out to YouTube and looking for the music and seeing like, will I hear something weird, and then being terrified.
So it's so
I,
funny.
I don't know how old I
But that
was.
also
I was
sounds
very young.
like Polybius, the urban legend of the arcade game that like drove people
Oh
insane and was like
yes,
so that's the
definitely.
thing is like these things are like Russian sleep experiment. It's like they're kind of based on real life things, but they're not as like extreme.
Yeah, yeah. Sora says it was the Japanese, if I recall correctly, it would induce seizures. I forgot that part. It would induce seizures and make the kids kill their parents and then themselves. Yeah, it was like completely outrageous story. But if you're a kid and it's your first exposure
Yeah,
to this sort of
it
thing,
feels real.
yeah, it felt so real. So yeah, definitely. I think we both have that experience with early creepypastas. And
Yes.
being like kids reading those and being obsessed with them, and recalling reading a lot of those early SCPs as well. Some
Yes.
classics. I
I think
do.
it's also like
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, I was saying I'm planning on making one SCP, and I'm planning on making it very old school, like better produced, with
Ooh.
some like the images I make plus some maybe some like little voice acted things, like make it a well produced version of what I remember those SCPs being like. Because now I go back to them and it's like 2 paragraphs and an image. They're not super complex, but I do
Oh,
like
but
that
something
simple
more
story.
produced. Oh, that would be so much fun to see.
Yeah, I do like. I want to like finish writing it and then get a couple voice actors, because that the whole concept of it is like it's this sort of uh, you know the ring like creature that is transmitted through radio messages. So it's like this little
Ooh.
community of radio amateurs that have like start spreading it unknowingly, start spreading it among each other, and the whole idea. I'll spoil it for you guys. If you guys ever see this months from now, or however long it takes from now in SCP, you'll know it was me. The idea is that you'll see this. There's this sort of early image transmission method called SSTV, which kind of sends an image to sound, and you decode it. And it's very glitchy, of course, because any other sound interference or noise will add noise into the image or break little parts of it, and it's very 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 low quality. So the idea is that this one SSTV sequence of sounds is cursed, and every time you get to the voice acted parts, and then they start playing the image like to send it to each other, and at some point the recording stops and say like this SCP Foundation is stopping this for your protection, so you never get to see the final image, and it slowly starts scanning more and more until you have to seek out and say, I want to see the full recording, and go through all the security, like fake security requirements, and then they'll put the full one for you. And it's like it's that sort of vibe of like, oh, I remember being a little kid and going to YouTube and looking for the Lavender Town song to see if it would do something to me.
It's so
Same
creepy.
vibe.
That's so cool.
I don't know. I still need to work out the writing and how the whole contagion thing is going to work, and how it can spread through them among them in a way that makes sense and that can be self-contained in a way. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. What
What was
number?
that?
I'll choose a number that comes up. I think you just choose a number from whatever is available when you post it. So I'll just choose the first one. I think I don't have a good preference for number. I'm scared of the spectrogram. Maybe I should hide something in the spectrogram. That would be fun. The Easter egg. But yeah, I want to drop this one SCP thing and then disappear. I don't want to be the SCP guy. I just want to like contribute this one thing to SCP, and you post it with their license. Well, it's not their license, with this Creative Commons license, and it's just there for anyone to enjoy, or I assume make YouTube videos out of, because people love making YouTube videos out of any SCP. And if this one has voice acted content, they'll go all over it.
So I've been so lucky to do a couple of like SCP things, and I'm involved in another SCP thing that I can't say anything about it, but I'm excited to share when it comes.
Interesting. I saw you in a calendar. You posted that recently.
Yeah, like oh man, like that was such a great art book that they released, where it's like the basic, like the main SCPs that people are most familiar with, but just as like a physical like book with accompanied with art, but it's all the same like articles. And it's so cool.
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't like. I was just seeing it while I scrolled by before, and the art is very cool. Very cool artists there.
Yeah, so, some of them are like players from like they've done famous SCP like art pieces like from the early days.
Oh, that's cool. You should open SCP commissions. Like I'm planning on doing this the next time I have space for personal commissions. I'll open like a specific SCP package. Like I'll make an image for your SCP and make that like a bit cheaper than I would make that sort of thing for people, because they're not, you know, they're not making any money out of it. It's just like it's something, it's gonna have its own CC license and you're just posting it out there. But they are hungry for art. Great
idea.
I did a couple SCP commissions, and just for people that I knew from social media and from the Discord server, and there was this contest for the 6,000 entry, so they all wanted like their cool articles with their cool images. So I did a couple of them for them, and then I guess I spread the word, and now every month or so I get another person like, hey, I want to I'm doing this SCP, can you make a piece for it? So every so often I'm making little things. I never make something super complicated, because then like SCP authors are really broke in general. They're not gonna spend huge amounts of money on a piece. So I'm respecting that. I just make like more or simpler things.
That is such a great idea. Like I would love to. I can't wait to open up commissions again. But I'm a little hesitant because it's like I still have a couple of projects that I'm working on, but I keep getting asked like, "Are you open for commissions?" And it's like I'm still wrapping things up for a couple of things. But once I'm available, I would love to do like SCP.
It's a carousel, right? Every time you say, "Oh, I'm seeing over the horizon. I'm gonna be done with a couple of projects," and then I'll be free for commissions. And when those couple of projects are done, another person comes up and like, "Oh, I want to do this project."
Yeah, and it's like, "Oh, another project," and they're cool projects, so you can't like, "Oh, I do want to be involved with this." So
yeah. Horse facts book, yes. Jordan here in chat recently talked about doing a book about cursed horse facts. Like it just starts with more regular sounding horse facts about, you know, horses can't puke, for example, which is a real thing, and slowly devolves into horror. Yes, Hannah, horse. I've written a lot of horse facts. Yes, it's a fun jumping off point for horror.
I can easily see that as like that can be terrifying. Just like an instructional like horse facts, and then it's accompanied with like those drawings that you see in airports where it's like a simple drawn horse, but then it gets even more messed up.
Oh, that would be fun. That would be a fun way of presenting it. Resident sleeper horse girls has entered the chat. Hey, Han, tell us some horse facts in chat, please. Some good horse facts. Could more or less cursed. You can do both. Yeah, there's definitely the that juggling game of projects coming in. I haven't been able to open personal commissions for a long time because exactly that, like, I end up getting sidetracked all the time with personal
With the
stuff.
latest project.
Yeah, just like stuff I'm interested in doing, like I'll tell you this SCP thing, for example. It's like, oh, it's whole project, but also like commissions. I did a book cover recently, which is fun.
Ah, so cool.
Yeah, I'll be posting it soonish, I hope. But yeah, it's like a surrealist writer, so it's a surreal image like that. But I love doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I've been involved with like more comic stuff.
Yeah,
And
I've seen a lot of that from you. That's great.
I can't wait to show. I worked on on an issue of Department of Truth.
Yes,
and it's like a Mothman issue. And
did
it was
you
so cool to work on.
Bigfoot one? Was that for the?
Oh yeah, I did alternate variant covers for that.
Yeah.
That Bigfoot issue was cool, and they brought me on to do like the Mothman issue, but it's not like it's not formatted like a comic. It's actually like an illustration and then like transcript pages, and they're like transcripts. They're like stylized as transcripts from like an interview and police reports. And it was so much fun to do. I cannot wait. It comes out like early January.
Oh,
I believe.
Fun. I need to get it. I definitely, that's completely my style, my vibe. I've done, and it'll come out. It's for a zine, so nothing like super thing, but
a zine. That's so cool.
Yeah, I've done a little comic like thing, but with pictures, and you like setting it in a very realistic way. Like there's no speech bubbles or anything. You only have to tell the story through images. And I
love
did
that.
It's about Slender Man, because of course I love my good creepypasta.
You're doing a Slender Man? That's so cool.
it's a take on Slender Man, and it's sort of like a little comic where there's, I don't recall, there's 4 or 5 panels on a page, and it all tells this little visual story.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I think I may be able to post like previews and stuff. I don't know the rules they set up, but I might post some previews at some point just to get. Well, I'll wait until it's announced to post them publicly, so I can hype people up.
The new year. Yeah, I hope the new year like just brings a lot of good things.
Yeah, I really hope so. For me, it's really been gearing up in the past few months. I think e-Remember was like, it was very tiring. It was a lot of images. I didn't burn out, thankfully, but I might have been close.
Wow, I can imagine, because you did so much.
Yeah, but it definitely, like, there were so many things that blew up, and it definitely brought in a lot of people, and a lot of people like wanting a commission and stuff. So at the end of the day, that really adds up. But yeah, let's hope it keeps going that way, both of us. Should we show the recordings we did? Okay,
yes.
I've prepared it. I hope the overlay works, because it's a bit different from the other time. Hey, here we are. Well, I'm a bit low in the camera, but okay, guys. So here's the concept. We decided to do another piece for the Lycanthrope series and set it like do something, a one-off thing in a completely different, I guess, from a completely different point of view. And we're gonna do ancient werewolves, but like very, very ancient. We're talking like prehistoric. We don't know exactly when we're gonna set it, but early hominid times. And we decided to do this as a collab where I did the skeleton that was found and David did the reconstruction. So we kind of sent it back and forth to each other and worked on different parts. So I'm going to show each of those parts separately. Hopefully the video should loop. So let me just play the first one. Okay, so this is a sped up version, and you might see there's chat messages. That's because I did it live on stream. So don't mind that. You might see my VTuber avatar pop up later. But yeah, you can see they're back in the screen. I chose God, what's the name? A direwolf? Is that how you pronounce it? Direwolf?
Oh yeah, yes.
Yes, so I chose a direwolf. Chose a direwolf's skull because if we're going for early hominid vibe, like this would be the ancestor to the werewolves. I should, instead of picking a regular wolf for the skull, I should pick an early wolf as well. So, direwolf. And
yes,
I ended up combining, I was looking for human bodies for the torso. You know what I ended up finding? A monkey. It's not a human. I thought that we're just picking a little, just the top of the torso. So
it fits.
It did a trick, I think. So there's a little bit of monkey in there.
Monkey.
A monkey. So I basically, what I did here, this first part that you see on stream is like me just putting the pictures together. Then I sent that to David. David worked on his part, and then I finished the skull. So it's kind of done in 3 parts here. But yeah, this is just putting them together and doing the most basic of combining the images. And then what I did, if you notice that the werewolves in our setting have these, and that was completely David's creation there. Their mouth kind of opens up to the back of their skulls.
Yeah, so they have like extra teeth.
Yes. And it's a cool jaw. Like, was that? How do you come up with that? That was you.
Yeah, I think it was because I've done that concept before, and it like stemmed from like Princess Mononoke, where it's like the wolf designs they're strange because when they smile, like they got like extra teeth in the back, and it's like I love that moment where the mother wolf, she like laughs at the main character, and like it's like just surreal looking because you just see all her teeth.
Yes. Yes.
And I just sort of.
Oh, that's a great inspiration. Yeah. So you see me there. I'm copy pasting teeth, and I mean, David, you might see everything a little bit later. So I'm spoiling you of what happens.
Oh yes, because I am seeing the stream, but I think it's like just a tiny bit behind.
Yeah, there's always a little bit of lag. So yes, I just basically copy pasted teeth from other parts of the skull, and it worked well enough. So I just kept that.
Yeah.
I then before sending it to you, I think I shortened the skull a little bit.
Just, like the back of it?
The front of it, the nose. Just I don't think that appears in that part of the video though. Oh, just also see me put a googly eye, because that's one of the things I have on my stream. Like if people use the stream points, they can make me put a googly eye on the picture. So and there you go, that's looping. Okay, now we should get to David's part, and y'all, this one is so good. So, David, it's not going to jump around as much because yours is recorded
Static,
from
yeah.
the program itself. It's static, so it's a bit easier to see. So I sent the picture to David, and David drew not one, not two, but three separate werewolves based on that. And they're all amazing, honestly.
Oh, thank you. And they're each like a different approach. This first one is like traditional, like wolf, like if it like much more like nothing too fantastical. Even like the fur texture is like modern wolves.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I
and
really
then
like
the
it
other
though.
two are like
This one might be the closest one to what the modern werewolves would look like.
yes.
But it still has
I
the big mouth. It's fantastic.
yes. And it is more like because I think the dire wolves had this kind of fur texture as well, just like browns and a lot of browns and like white highlights
Yeah.
around the face.
And I think now this is the second one, which is amazing.
Oh yeah, and this one is more. I wanted to go for something a bit more feral looking.
Yes, definitely.
Something that for the next two, it's like I wanted to make werewolves that would look terrifying if you like encountered them in a cave. Like just this crazed like animal.
Yeah, it's fantastic. This one is definitely the scariest one. But yeah, and this, then you'll see them back again because David goes back to do some adjustments. And this is, I really like this stake too. I didn't know which one to choose. They were honestly also good.
Oh yeah, this one is more more human inspired in terms of like the skin texture. Not a whole lot of like fur.
Yeah, it's just like you add some hair. There we go. There's the hair popping up.
Yeah, and it's all like patchy, like stringy. It was kind of inspired by the werewolf design in Harry Potter, one of the Harry Potter films, where it was designed by Wayne Barlow, and I always loved that werewolf design because it was a bit more. It had like really thin hair, and it was more lanky and human looking.
Yeah, it was like the human's skin just like stretched, like it didn't grow too much hair.
Yeah.
And this makes me wonder how many layers do you work on? Do you work on? Are you one of those crazy people that work on one layer, or
oh yeah, pretty much. It's just like one layer. I two layers, like one just the wolves and then just the background, and that's it. I very much just approach it like a painting.
Oh god, that scares me. I regularly go over 100 layers on my thing, so.
Well, that's good because like you work with so many elements, and it's like it's nice to just have like to just adjust whenever you can.
Yeah, yeah. What we should do, like for photo manipulation, usually want to do non-destructive editing, which is just editing in a way that you haven't destroyed any of the information of the original image, so you can always go back and change things and just move things around if they don't work. And you need to match the perspectives, you need to match the lighting of two different images. Like you end up having to go back a lot. So at the end of the day, it's obviously we're doing completely different things. You're painting and I'm compositing,
but like if a client asked you for changes, you could easily like go back in and know what to change. Whereas with me, I would have to do it the hard way and just like
oh no.
But it's a good thing I don't I don't get a whole lot of like.
People are asking, are the werewolves good kissers? I mean, if you get your face munched off. So yes, you guys saw it's looping again now, but you guys saw David's 3 images. Like this is the kind of guy David is. You'll you'll tell him to do one thing, and he comes back with 3 separate images. And now we jump back into
gonna do
part
5.
3. Oh god. Oh, see,
Yeah,
now
it's-
I made the nose shorter. It came up in the other video, but yeah, it's there. You're gonna
I
do
see.
5. You're
Yeah. I seriously considered it.
So what I did, I was talking to David, and we decided to go for that old, very brown skull look, which usually comes
Yeah.
from like peat bogs and tar pits, that kind of place where bodies are very conserved, but they get that sort of tint to them over the years. So I decided
so
to
good.
change the whole color palettes of the skeleton, and it took a lot of adjusting. But I think I came up with something that looks apart. Brown
Yes.
bones, yes.
It looks
Old
amazing. It
peaty
reminds me
bones.
of the mummy, the Brendan Fraser mummy. How it was like brown and juicy.
Yes, I love that. It like, I know it doesn't work like that in real life, but it makes it look older to our simple
Yeah.
brains that see like, oh, it's brown and tarnished, so it must be older.
Yes.
So, and now
Like,
I'm doing the lighting well too, which before I left it very plain when I listened to David. Now I'm actually going in and adding more shadows, making it a bit more drastic there, making the teeth yellow as well, all nasty,
yes.
like they haven't been washed
That's
in
a great-
thousands of years.
That's a great reference photo you have as well.
Yeah, you sent that to me.
Oh yeah, that's
Yes.
right. Yeah.
I literally copy
I was about to
pasted.
say, like, I forgot about that.
I literally copy pasted that. But yeah, now it's starting to look more decent. It takes a lot of adjusting to change colors like this, but when it comes out well, it's very fun.
Yeah, it turned out great, like a museum piece.
Yeah, and then David and I had to decide which one to pick for like the side to side, because the idea is that I did the skeleton and David did the reconstruction, like the reconstructions you often see in old hominids and that kind of thing. So we went for the second one, the more feral one. I think it's the right choice. It's the most different looking one. Like if you imagined what an old werewolf would look like.
Yeah, it's very different from like any of the other werewolves we've done so far.
Yeah.
And it also reminded me of like I was trying to go for like the man apes from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh yes.
Where they had
shaggy.
like the really stringy, shaggy hair.
Yes, I love that. So I was since your painting went to the back of the canvas, I was trying to put them side to side, and so I had to put like a separation or something. I didn't find a good way of putting them. So
you did a great job.
Later is when I
capturing
decided
the
to
smoke.
flip one of them. Oh yeah, I just picked a smoke image from the internet. I don't recall which side I used. Well, a free stock side, and I aligned it, and it worked out very well. I didn't have to.
Yes.
Barely had to touch it. But yeah, that is when I decide to flip it, so they're looking at each other, and now it doesn't matter that the back is cropped out, because now it's against the edge of the canvas. But
Perfect.
what I had to do is flip your
Oh, the
signature.
signature.
But thankfully I could just pick it from one of the other pieces, the skin one that has a signature just against a black background. So I could just like
Oh,
you'll see me there. I just cut it
perfect.
out and put it there on screen mode. Easy.
Wow.
I also added my own signature right there in the corner. Hold on.
Oh, really?
I'll have to hide your view for
Yeah,
a
I'm
second
blocking.
because
I'm blocking the
it's
view. Oh no, I'm
yeah
blocking the view.
it but there it is. I scratched it, and I liked
Ah,
that the back was scratched like that because it feels like, oh, this werewolf's got in fights, you know.
yeah.
Like if you get your bones scratched, it, it it probably means you've taken a big bite or a big scratch from
Oh,
something.
that would be something really disturbing to look into if someone wants to do it. The idea of finding a werewolf pit with like bones that have like they've been gnawed on, and so you see
Oh
like teeth
yes,
marks, and
I
it's
love
just
that.
piles and piles in a cave of bones. That would be so disturbing to see.
All the hunt. A werewolf pit. I love that.
A werewolf pit.
Or like a cave or something, like a corner in a cave or with a bunch of bones.
Oh, do you think they would have been sophisticated enough to eventually make cave paintings or cave art?
Oh, oh, that would have been. Oh, that is such a good idea. Now I want to make
What would they?
werewolf cave art. I mean, they would definitely be sophisticated. So I feel like the unspoken lore behind between this ancient werewolf and the modern ones is that at first they probably lived on their own and they were hunting humans, and eventually they like maybe they're an offshoot of humans themselves or something. We don't know where they come from exactly. That's better left a mystery. But at first they're kind of just on their own little tribes and they're hunting humans, and eventually they decide to like integrate in their society and just kind of hide among them because like easy pickings, you know, instead of just having to attack them, you can just pick them one by one.
Yeah,
So there's probably a transition there. So they would probably need to be as just as intelligent as regular humans to be able to integrate in their society. So I could see cave art. I could see werewolf cave art being a thing.
yeah, and maybe on the other side as well, like for the humans that were hunted for them, maybe they made their own cave art, but it's like an unexplored cave, but there's like plenty of like werewolf drawings, and it's like
Oh
a
yes,
warning,
they're being
like don't go out at
hunted.
night. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, it's like they would represent their lions and other creatures. They would probably just
Yeah.
draw the werewolves as a way of teaching as well. Because I imagine if there's something that kind of looks like humans but can transform into something that can eat you in a second, you'd probably need to teach your kids pretty quickly.
Oh, that would be so perfect. Like, cause you know how in cave paintings, they kind of simulated like an antelope running or like an animal running, but they just kept drawing it over and over.
Oh yeah, so the
Um,
lighting would, if you light it with a torch, it kind of
you
animates,
could
right?
you could do that with the werewolf transformation, where you see something that is
Oh,
a human, but it the more it goes on, the more it looks like it transforms into the wolf.
that is genius. Now I want to do
That could
that.
be right. Oh my goodness, we
Now we
just
have
stumbled
to do
upon.
that. I mean, to be honest, it's perfect for a collab. Like someone draws it and I add it into a rock cave, into like a rock face or something. That would be very fun.
Season 4.
Season 4, Ancient Werewolves, like Ancient
Yes.
Aliens, the TV show, but all about werewolves. Yes, I did a similar one for the bugs for Megalomorpha. They had this. this cave painting with ancient rituals inscribed in them. So I already did something similar, except I'm not very good at drawing cave art. I had to go for the very, very simple stick figure style. Season 4, they're just like us. Han asks, would they have a culture like burial rituals? For sure, yeah, they would definitely have some cool burial rituals.
I'm trying to think of how old the statue of Venus is. It's like that. It's like that little statue where it's like the stomach and the breasts are like big, and like I'm trying to remember how ancient that was. But I love the idea of like I think one of the prevailing theories is that when women were like pregnant, they just had to sit all day, so they probably just like carved a statue of like what they were feeling and what they saw as they were like giving birth.
Like self-portraits, right?
Yeah.
That's very good.
And maybe werewolves could have like a similar thing where it's like maybe they saw their own bodies and they carved something out of bone.
Oh.
But it's like it like accentuates maybe the face and like the body is tiny or something.
Like they would look down and they would see their snouts.
Yeah, so you could
have a huge snout.
Yeah.
And like big fangs. I don't know if they could see their own fangs, possibly, yeah. Big hands with claws, like accentuating what makes them into a werewolf. Tens of thousands of years old, says Laos. Yeah, I mean, I feel that could fit the werewolf story very well. See, we end up coming up with ideas. Yeah. Let's just jump into the main view here since we're done with the videos. Yeah, hope you. Oh, sorry, forgot I had the video on. Yes. I really like putting together these little things and presenting them during the
they're so cool
during the podcast. It's fun. Like, it requires preparation. I don't know if I'll be able to do this with every guest that comes in. Like, tell them, hey, we have to do something beforehand and prepare it. I know people are busy, but whenever I can, it's very fun.
Oh yeah, this was so much fun to do, and oh my goodness, that bone pit is terrifying. Sora, it's so cool.
Sora sent to bone pits. Human bones and skulls in a brick pit. Wow, that is very cool. Oh, that would definitely be a werewolf den, I'm sure.
Yes.
No, now we have a bunch of ideas for ancient werewolves. God damn it.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to continue this series, won't we?
Yeah, because it's like we just brainstorm like live.
Yeah, to be honest, like, I think that just the material we talked today would be enough for a whole other series of, like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 separate pieces. Like, we got the skull already, doing some artifacts and stuff.
Yeah, now all we need is like cave paintings, a bit of lore.
Hey, Han, we're going into the Discord later and discussing this if you want to participate. See, we can't help it. We end up coming up with werewolf lore.
Yes. And it's so cool, like, it just brainstorming all these ideas.
Yeah.
It almost writes itself.
It really does. Like this, like it's what we said before. There's so much to explore that at the end of the day, you can keep going with this for ages.
Oh, I forgot. Sora asked a question before.
Yeah.
That I didn't get to answer. Classic question: what biggest inspiration, old and current, can be people, pieces of art, audiovisuals, media, books, etc. A lot of horror. Although it's funny that I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies as a kid.
Really? Oh, that's great.
Yeah. but but whenever I did, it would affect me so much, like, because it felt like, oh, I'm not supposed to see this. This is
Yeah,
crazy.
like a forbidden
Uh,
thing.
yeah. Uh, and it's funny how the things that I considered like absolutely terrifying as a kid, now it's like, well, it's not scary, and you can clearly see the humor in it. Things like the Mummy, Tim
Hmm.
Burton's Sleepy Hollow. It's like they absolutely terrified me as a kid. But like seeing them now, it's like, oh, I see that they're actually supposed to be kind of like silly and funny.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
there are terrifying moments in them.
Yeah, I agree. No, it's those kind of childhood inspirations. I think do a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
They really, I don't know. They. I think they inform you, even if you don't realize. They inform a lot of what you do. At least for me, like those, I end up recalling these things I read when I was 13 or when I was in like that early high school horror obsessed uh, era, and that comes
Yes.
back.
Yeah, because it's so powerful. I remember I wasn't allowed to watch any of the Nightmare on Elm Street films, so
Mm.
I just had to. I made up what they were for me. Like I didn't know the plot or premise or anything about it, but I made up my own stories with Freddy Krueger, and he looked completely different
Oh,
than
that's
how he does in
great.
the movies.
Oh, you should draw that someday and just say
Yes,
like this
because
was
I do
imagined
remember
Freddy Krueger
vividly.
being.
Yes, because the only info that I like kept was that he has like a clawed hand. So
Hmm.
in my mind, Freddy Krueger, he had like a red robe. You didn't see his face. He just had like these glowing yellow eyes, and he just had like a clawed hand.
I love
And
that.
that was it.
That's very cool. You should draw that someday and say this is Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. Oh man, that was I still love that idea. One of the ideas for a new Nightmare on Elm Street film, I think it was Robert Englund that suggested it, where it's like just make it where Freddy looks different depending on who is dreaming him. So you can have
Mm,
like different versions of Freddy. Because that's how he is to a lot of people anyways, where it's like,
yeah.
oh, he can be more monstrous or he could be like more subtle.
Hmm.
Uh maybe he could even look like completely different.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think it wouldn't pass with the suits who would
Oh
want
yeah,
the
and it would be
classic look. But
yes. It's a very ambitious idea.
yeah, yeah. Oh, but that would be fun. It's sort of like, maybe like many years into the future, Freddy Krueger is kind of the idea of him is kind of mutated and dissolved and it's like way more subjective. I would love to see that.
Did you hear Peter Jackson's idea of a Nightmare on Elm Street movie?
I don't think so.
He Peter Jackson, I think it was back in the 90s. He had an idea. He pitched uh, of Nightmare on Elm Street film where Freddy Krueger, he has no power over people anymore. So kids put themselves to sleep so that they can go in the dream world and beat the crap out of him, like just bully him in the dream world.
Oh
Like
no,
he's
that's
just
so
become this pathetic
sad.
figure. But then he he like out of desperation, he like ends up killing a kid and then he starts gaining power. And there's like this subplot
Oh,
where a cop, he has to like solve a mystery, but he's like in a coma. So he has to fight Freddy Krueger as he's solving this mystery. And it's like that's such a
that's such a fun
fun, cool
idea.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, just like turning it on its head. Bully Freddy. Poor Freddy. I would feel bad for him. I mean, I know it's a monster, but um, that's such a fun idea. I love these different takes, and in the current uh, media atmosphere where everything has to be something from a pre-existing franchise, like you might as well take it in wacky directions if you're gonna do that, right?
Yeah. That was the most disappointing thing for me with the Nightmare on Elm Street remake where they just didn't do anything. Like you would think with Nightmare on Elm Street, it's like, oh, Freddy Krueger, and you can play with all kinds of surreal imagery, and the dream worlds
Mhm.
can be really trippy. And they did none of that. It's just like, well, we're kind of just in a house, and his redesign isn't all that. It's nothing. I think Jackie O'Haley, he had an interesting take on the character, but it's like people still prefer like the Robert Englund one. Like he just
Yeah.
looks cool.
And it ends up becoming so iconic that you can't really separate it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a classic pitfall of like remakes and when remakes
Yes.
of things that are very iconic visually and specifically like tied to a certain actor or a certain director, like something that is very tied to a specific person is very hard to bring that back in any way because you're never gonna represent the same thing. Like,
Yeah, and recapture a lot of those ideas back then. They were like lightning in a bottle, right? It's like
mm,
it's hard to replicate that.
yeah, yeah, and see, I don't know, the new Ghostbusters, and it's such it's just basically a nostalgia trip that turns this wacky comedy movie about people catching ghosts into this sort of like reverential thing.
Oh yeah,
It's very strange. I don't know.
yes, and it's usually because it's like, well, this is an IP that people are familiar with, so we might as well just bring it back.
Hmm.
I I haven't seen it yet, but I just hope it has cool ghosts in it. That's why I love the original Ghostbusters. Is all the ghost designs.
Yeah, I mean, you're never gonna be the originals, I think, and the effects they
Yeah.
had. It's charming.
Yes, and they were gnarly. They were like just gross little like transparent monsters. Like,
Yeah, they were very fun. Yeah, they had some very cool designs. Like the Thing remake. Oh god, that makes me sad to
oh
think
yeah,
about when they had
yes,
such beautiful, complex practical effects,
they were
and
so amazing.
they erased all of them, and they did it all again in 3D in VFX, and it was so
I
sad.
I can't believe like for that ending they originally had like this the was it the pilot alien, and it looked amazing. It's like
Mm,
the like it looked like something out of Starship Troopers. It was so cool. But then in the film they replaced it with like these little like CGI blocks
yeah.
and so much CGI. Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, and have you seen the behind the scenes thing for the VFX for the practical effects artists?
For the thing. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
for the for
the,
the
it's
for the remake. I mean,
yes. They were so good. Like I love like everything from like how did they design the ice block creature
hmm.
to all of that. And they built all of it. They built all the practical effects, and then they just ended up replacing all of them with CGI.
Oh, it's such a shame. Such a shame. We love
that
CGI
must.
blocks. Well, you do, Fire. No, but at least we have the videos of those original practical effects puppets and
Yes.
how they made them work because it's just like an amazing craft on its own. So at least
Yeah,
we
and they were
have that.
really gnarly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like just through the years of this craft being perfected since the original thing.
Yeah, because the guys who designed it, it was Studio ADI, and they like designed things for like aliens. Like they
Yeah,
did some really cool monster designs.
yeah, and you see those practical effects, and if they had been in the original, they would have killed it absolutely.
Oh
But
yeah,
since it happened in a
it
different
would have been
era and
seamless.
everything had to be CG, it just
Yes, and that I think that was a studio decision
oh
because
yeah, yeah.
I think the director he like it's like why would you get the practical effects guys if you're not going to use them?
Yeah. I'm throwing money out the window too, because that must be expensive.
Right? Just
That's
like
so much manpower and hours of work to do that. compared
Oh
to
my
that. And
god!
that's why
Like,
everybody does CGI, because it's cheaper, and you don't need as much manpower to create every single puppet for every single scene.
that's
But
true. But
once you have paid
surely,
for it,
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, oh,
But it is, yeah. At least we have those videos, and you look up, if you don't know about this in chat, look up The Thing 2011 practical effects on YouTube. It should come up. There's a bunch of like reels of behind the scenes things of how they shot the scenes, and in some of them you can see the
beautiful.
comparison with what they did in the end, which makes it sadder.
Yeah. That was another thing. They used a lot of like animatronics, so it's like everything moved beautifully.
Yeah, I love that kind of thing. It's such a cool craft.
I love the practical effects
Hmm.
of films and just seeing the behind the scenes of stuff.
Yeah,
It's so inspiring.
I love it. I love it. I feel like it makes me want to do, talking about this makes me want to do The Thing inspired story. Just a cool alien.
Yes. And
Cool.
that's another sort of IP that like you could do so much with. Like I remember they made like a comic spin-off. I don't know if it was canon, but it was like following Nordic Vikings, and they
Oh,
came across the thing, and it was very interesting because it's like, how do old people like people from back then, how would they have dealt
I don't know
with
about these comics.
with
Oh, that is fantastic. Let me note that down.
yeah, it was one of the Thing comics. I think I think it only ran for like one issue or something. It was really
Uh-huh.
short, but it was a great concept where it's like that's a great idea of like
Yeah.
just taking the thing, giving it like a different. They're about to do that with the new Predator movie, which I'm really excited for. It's called
Oh,
Prey.
yeah.
Uh,
I like that. I hope they nail that. They stick the landing for that.
yes,
I'm
because
never
I do.
trusting
You're right.
things from a trailer, but
But I hope, yeah, I do hope it goes well because the Predator is one of those things where it's like I love it so much, and it's hard to recapture that magic of the original.
yeah, yeah, and that's what I think. Everything should be original. There should be no remakes ever again, and you should take
No
that
remakes.
idea that you would use for the remake and make it into an original design, and everything would be
Yeah, make it something new.
so much cooler. Like if I think of doing fan art of The Thing, I'll first like maybe I'll go straight for something straight out of the movie, and that's fun as well. But my mind directly goes to, okay, what can I do taking the idea of The Thing and transplant it into a different setting, or change like how the creature works, or that Viking thing. Like, what if another culture, another time had come up with had come across the thing, and that kind of thing. It's more fun, in my opinion. You take the story and take some inspiration, but then like take your own path.
Exactly. And I see that a lot with Silent Hill inspired video games,
Mm,
where it's like you don't have to make another Silent Hill video game. It's like
yeah,
people have already made like amazing horror games inspired by that
exactly.
aesthetic, and they work just as well. It's like this is amazing. I love that they went for something unique.
Yeah, and it gives you opportunity to kind of explore different settings. If you keep doing the same setting over and over, you'll explore it to death.
Yes,
But I don't know. I feel like we're never going to see that, at least in the current culture of Hollywood and even like gaming and stuff. It's very hard to see that coming out, and we have to get used to remakes upon remakes upon remakes, because that's what makes money.
that's true. Although, have you ever seen Control, the video
Yes.
game?
Oh,
It,
I want to play it on stream at some point. I have a playthrough that I started and didn't finish, because I was thinking maybe I'll start a new one. on stream and just play through the whole thing because it's my vibes completely. Like,
Yes, it's like, and I love how it's like it is SCP. It's like the best SCP thing that is
yeah,
not called SCP. They just did their own, but it's like this is such like what SCP is like to people.
yeah, exactly. They took the vibe, they took the kind of the concept, and they brought it to a different place. They made it into a U.S. government thing, which all the I don't know. They nailed that like whole bureaucracy style
Yeah,
where all the horror is kind of hidden behind layers and layers of documents and reports and you end up coming across it right physically, but you keep reading reports about what you're gonna come across later, and it's such a fun way of storytelling.
yes, and it's so surreal because it's like they have their own like way of running things, and it changes on a dime, and it's like that. This
Hmm.
is so cool.
I love it. I love it. I love. Oh, I just played through the Outer Wilds DLC, and I just gotta say, like, we're talking about a lot of historical stuff and archaeology and finding skeletons. And if you want that vibe, guys, you should play Outer Wilds. David, have you played it?
Outer Wilds. I've not.
Ooh, okay. So I'm not gonna spoil anything because it's one of those games you have to go in blind. But essentially, they simulated this whole solar system in kind of a miniature because planets are not planet-sized. Obviously, they're much smaller, and they literally plop you in there in this solar system. That's you're this new civilization that pops up and discovers space travel, and you start venturing into other places of this solar system, and you start coming across this ancient civilization that's been dead for hundreds of thousands of years and all their leftovers, and you have to piece together through whatever they have left in what is essentially the last moments of the life of this solar system before it goes supernova. And you have this,
Wow.
you're living in this loop, just discovering, gaining knowledge about this old civilization. And I'm not going to say anymore because anything I would say is a spoiler. It's just like one of those games. It's like, it's not even game of the year for me. It's one of those games that is permanently in my memory, and they came up with a very cool DLC. If you play the base game, anyone in chat that played the base game and hasn't played the DLC, I really recommend it.
Such a fun idea, and I'm looking it up. It looks awesome, and it has all these accolades, and
Mm.
wow,
No,
I'll
it's
definitely
great.
check this out.
It's great if you like that. That's sort of like it's just the most pure exploration game you'll see, and it has some horror elements that you'll also get a kick off. Uh,
Yeah, I like I'm loving the atmosphere of like
there
this
is
game.
a single planet in this solar system that is possibly one of the most terrifying things I've played through in any game with a game
Ooh,
that is not horror.
wow.
It is very like they managed. It's super cool atmosphere.
Oh, I definitely gotta check this out. This
Yes,
is so
yes, definitely
cool.
do. And
Outer
you should be able
Wilds.
to get it for free. It's for free for cheap for it's an indie game from a few years ago, so they doesn't usually go for cheap.
Yeah, maybe next year will be the year that I get to play video games because I rarely get to play. Like I've only played Psychonauts 2 this year,
Hmm.
which was a lot of fun. But yeah, I just haven't had time. But I definitely do want to check out Outer Wilds because this looks. I love that premise.
Yeah, yeah, you'll love it. You'll love it. I know you will. And yeah, it's definitely the type of vibe that if if you like the same and we like the same type of stuff, you and I, so I'm confident in the recommendation.
Oh, and speaking of sci-fi and recommendations,
Yeah.
have you heard of the Third Body? Wait. what is
The
this called?
third body,
The
third
three
body
body.
problem.
Yes.
Yes, I literally have that book right over there in my room.
Ah,
I haven't
yay!
started
I
it
knew it.
yet. I haven't started it
Ah,
yet, but I have it there, and I've heard so many good things about it.
yes, I love. So for those in the chat who don't know, like the three body problem, it's part of a trilogy, but the basic premise is that there is life in the galaxy. There are these aliens that live about like 400 light years away from planet Earth, and they discover Earth, but they are coming here to invade. The thing is, it will take about 400 years until they arrive. So the basic premise is just how is Earth gonna like deal with this problem? Like like aliens are coming, even though it's gonna take years and years. It's like how do you prepare for something like that? Um,
That's
and
very cool.
and I've been reading the first book. I also found a great manga version of this story that is pretty
Oh,
close. I'll put it here in the chat. If
oh, let's
anyone
see.
wants to like see it in manga form, I think it's in a way it was much more preferable to me because it gets into some heavy like physics science,
Yeah,
uh, and seeing it visually was like really helpful
yeah.
for me.
I've read some stories by the same author, and they get very like complicated physics. Also, Biapar, and thank you for the raid. Welcome, guys. Admire you a lot. Oh, welcome in. Enjoy. Yes, we're talking about the three body problem. Cool sci-fi
So
stuff. I love that.
the thing about the three body problem and that trilogy, what got me excited is that I found out that oh they're gonna make a series on Netflix, and I checked out like who's gonna be show running this series, and it's David and Dan who did Game of Thrones, and it's like oh
Oh
no,
no.
it was like a monkey's paw deal of like oh this cool sci-fi story that you love is gonna be show run by these guys, and it's like oh no.
The infamous.
The story is great though. It's a cool story. So just read the
Yeah.
books.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, yeah, maybe the show won't be amazing, but if it makes people read the books, then all the better.
Yes.
It's one of the things I like when things get adapted to, a show or anything new. It's like it'll bring more people to the source material. Not a lot, because most people just like to see the adaptations and that's it. But still,
Yeah.
but I like that. I have to read that comic version. That's very cool.
Oh yes.
Part one too.
I liked it a lot, and they got pretty far. It's like it is still ongoing, so it's like not complete, but they got a good chunk of like the story down in manga form. I was surprised to see it.
I love that. I love that. It's weird to see a manga adaptation of a book like that. It's like not the usual direction things get adapted in. It's fun.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff I need to read. God.
Yeah.
I'm very slow reading, and it takes me a long
Oh,
time
so
to
am
get through
I.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Where it's like I do love reading, but it's like it takes a while because I do love to like take my time on
Yeah.
stories and
Oh, I
and
do,
books.
and I do that for all media. I think I like a video game. I don't get. I love video games, and I used to play way more. But right now, I play something, and I really want to explore. If I like the game, say the Outer Wilds, fantastic game, I want
Yeah,
to
you want to
explore
explore
literally
things.
everything, and I'll take my merry time doing it. So it ends up taking so much of my time that with the little time I got for gaming, so it ends up dragging on to a point where I can't play that much.
I'm the same way because I love exploring games because it's like they are beautiful pieces of art. And it's like I want to appreciate them.
Yeah, but maybe watching people play is a good it's a good
Oh
compromise.
yeah, Especially for things like I love the Souls games and like the From Software games.
Hmm.
Uh, but playing them would be a whole other thing for me. It's like, but I do love seeing them, and
Oh,
I can't wait for Elden Ring.
yeah, it looks very good. And the one I haven't played is Bloodborne because I have no way of playing it. I don't have the consoles.
Bloodborne, so
It's
cool.
only on PlayStation, I think. And if it either comes out in PC one day or at some point I get I borrow a PlayStation or I get one for cheap when they're cheap, and there's like new consoles, new generations of consoles. But yeah, it's one of those things. I've been waiting to play Bloodborne for a long time. It looks so good.
Yeah, it's so gorgeous. I love the Bloodborne look
And I've loved
and all the
the Dark Souls, all the Dark Souls games. I really enjoyed. It's just the Dark Souls has that like berserk aesthetic, that like dark
yeah.
fantasy that I really like. But Bloodborne has an aesthetic that I think is much cooler. That sort of gothic Victorian horror. It looks so good. I want to play it someday.
Yeah, and it delves into cosmic horror like so
Yes, I've heard so.
seamlessly.
Yes, and it's very hard to do cosmic horror in anything that's not writing. I think it's very hard to visually represent cosmic horror. In my
Yeah,
opinion,
and they
very few people have managed to do it well.
yes, and the designs like oh my goodness, in the Bloodborne games, like the designs are so like out there. They're like all of the monsters
Hmm.
look so like terrifying and gorgeous. I love it. And I love the approach to the storytelling in those games, which is that there is like a really dense, deep lore to them,
Yeah.
but you can also just approach it as like surface level,
Hmm.
like like they don't stop to explain things for you, but it all the stuff is
You
there
have to
if you want
seek
to
it
look for
out.
it.
Yes,
Yeah,
like
but you
hidden
can
in
enjoy it either
item
way.
descriptions and environmental things. They do that very well.
Yes, I love that approach to, to the From Software games.
God, Elden Ring also looks like it has a lot of Breath of the Wild aesthetics,
Yes.
and Breath of the Wild is another one of those games where I poured so many hours just getting 100%, and well, I didn't get 100%. I didn't get all the seeds because that's annoying, but I did get most of the things. But it's fun to see that they took the inspiration from that game.
Yes, and I'm so excited to see that because apparently George R. R. Martin wrote for Elden Ring.
Yes.
Uh, and it's like, and once I saw the demo, I was like, oh, I see. I kind of see like some of his writing about, even especially like the factions and the different houses, and it's like this is gonna be so cool. I cannot wait.
Yeah, definitely see. Can definitely see his touch there. It's Rarest touch. I got it. It's been so long since I've read those books. You know, I never
I
watched the Game of Thrones show. Well, I watched until the third season or so. Then I kind of
oh,
dropped it
that's
off,
perfect. That's
and then
actually
I saw that people were liking it less and less as the seasons went on, and they kind of like stopped having book material to cover.
yes.
And
The moment they stopped adapting from the books is when it goes downhill. You realize that oh, this is great only because they're working off of great stories.
yeah. So I think I stopped at a good moment, and I'll be like, for me at this point, I've lost hope that the books will ever be finished, at least by George. But
I have been revisiting I've only read I think I'm up to the second to last book.
mhm.
Uh, it's great. I do love the Game of Thrones series. It's
I
so
love it as
cool.
well. I love it as well. It's so rich. It's so deep in their history and like characters, relations. It's so good. But yeah, I've kind of lost hope that it'll ever be finished at this point. But
Oh yeah,
I know we've got what we've got, and it was still good. So
yes. I hope I do think he will finish it, but it will take a while because it's like he wrote these books like since the 90s.
Yeah.
So it's like it's his baby, and like it'll probably take this last one. Apparently, it'll be like his biggest book yet because it's so dense with things.
Yeah. God, when
But I
it
do
when
want
it
to see
comes
like
out, I'll have to read the whole thing beforehand because, or find some very very good recaps because it's been so long.
yes.
And I remember the base story, but there's so many little characters and so many small things that you end up forgetting.
Yeah.
And
But
like,
the lore is fantastic. The
yeah.
world he built is really cool. And I want to see what happens with the White Walkers, because it's like there's such a cool thing that he sets up. They're barely mentioned, but it's like
It's
I want
always
to know what
there
they're
in the
all about.
background. Yeah. Yeah,
I,
I wish it was more explored, and I bet it will be. I mean, the next book is called
yes.
Winter, so I
My
assume
theory
there'll be more. Yeah.
my theory is that they're aliens or they're extraterrestrial life to the world of Westeros.
Okay.
I've heard that theory floating around,
I
and
like that.
the more I thought about them, the more I like, oh yeah, because they're not like anything. Even though there's like magic and stuff in these books, the White Walkers are kind of like their own thing. And I know
Yeah.
in the show it's like, oh, the Children of the Forest made them, but it's like I think in the books it's a bit more different than that. And he has pulled those kind of like sci-fi twists at the end of some of his stories in the past.
Mhm.
And I personally love that idea that, oh yeah, it's like fantasy, but the twist is that there's this sci-fi element to it.
I love that. That would be fun. I think a lot of people. I would love it. I think a lot of people would hate it too, because some people are so
Yeah.
invested in the fantasy element that you'll suddenly
Aliens,
drop
what?
the curtain and they would be disappointed. I would love it though. It's the kind of
Yes.
thing I live for.
And if it is the case, like I hope he approaches it in a way where it's like, because there's like legends of like meteorites that have power, and it's like if you tied it to something like that, I think that would be an easier thing to digest. Of like, oh, it's extraterrestrial life, but it's kind of tied to like the legends of the people, but you can see it as this sci-fi element.
Yeah, yeah, not like a very explicit. Oh, they're coming down in spaceships.
Yeah, exactly.
Something a bit more integrated into the world. Yeah, that I could see. I could see that. Make it a space opera, says Fire. Yes. Full on, just send all the characters into space. Give them.
Yeah, everyone goes to space. John goes into space.
Give them space guns.
Danny goes into space.
And let them finish the war in space. Dragons versus spaceship dogfights, exactly.
Amazing.
Anyway, should we wrap it up, David? I think we've been on for 2 hours 45.
Oh, wow.
Don't want to keep you on for so long.
Oh, no, but it's been great. This has been awesome talking with you. Doing this episode.
Very fun. I'm really enjoying doing this little podcast thing. Just like bringing in folks and talking. It's a good opportunity a good excuse. Because like we've only chatted in texts. We've never like actually talked like this in this way. So it's a good excuse to do so.
Yeah, true. And I gotta be more social for the new year, because it's like I gotta connect with more people, and this has been so much fun.
You should be more active on Discord. There's some great stuff on Discord, and it's way more like, talking directly to people than Twitter, which is like you on your pedestal, just talking at people. And not like talking about you specifically. I mean, Twitter as a social media, Discord, you can make like little communities and actually like talk one-to-one, which is much nicer. Yeah,
I feel so bad because Trevor he has like the movie nights, and it's like I keep wanting to join them, but I join them at the wrong time. Like after I finish something, I'm like, I think I'll go to the movie nights and check out what everyone's watching, and then it's like the end of the movie, like all the time, and I'm like, I keep missing it, just barely.
You gotta get on Discord more.
Yes, I'll be sure that'll be a resolution for the new year.
That's an easy resolution. Just
Get on Discord more.
Set it on auto open, and there it is.
Yeah, and just talk.
Or yeah, just like Sora says, you're always welcome to come into stream and chat.
Oh well, I think I will do that more.
And yeah, I in the future, I don't know exactly how I'll do this podcast because I'm just kind of improvising this whole thing. I don't know exactly like if I want to bring every time a new person. At some point, I'll run out of people to invite.
Oh, do you have someone in mind for the new episode or?
I've been talking to a couple people, but I don't have anyone locked in, so I'm not gonna say names. So I wanna excite people, but there's some exciting names on the roster. So I will.
I cannot wait. I'm so looking forward to whoever you have on for the next guest.
I mean, I literally. So far, nobody has told me no. So far, everyone wants to be in the podcast. So for now, it's good. I'll have people for a good while.
That's great to hear.
Nathan, Oki, Plastibu. Yes, Nathan, you should come in at some point. Nathan is Faya in chat, you guys. Yes, I've already had Nathan for this little stream I did that was the precursor to this. So yes, I definitely want to bring in all the people that were in that one, like individually. Enoch, Lou, Faya, Oki. Bring them all in at some point.
Yes.
So yes, definitely those are for sure invites, and I've already talked to them. They're all up for it. So those for sure. But then
awesome.
We'll see. Try to intersperse it with people that are more from the community that we already know, people that maybe are known for doing something, but that are not personally that well known, because I think that's like what we talked about with the Flesh Pit National Park project. Like it's just its own little project, but I want to know the person behind it and like how they come up with that. So that kind of thing where it's like not someone I know, but someone I would like to know. I want to intersperse a bit of that, like people we already know about and some new folks. We'll see. It's all improvised. And that's the fun thing about doing my own little program here. Can just do whatever.
I've loved this so far.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed these 2 episodes, and David, you're fantastic to talk to. I won't keep you up for so long.
Oh yes, and I won't keep you any longer either. But this has been so much fun. I'm glad I got to do this with you.
Yes, me too. David, I'll see you. Well, we'll be talking more about werewolf stuff. Guys, you will see our new silver series for the Lycanthrope series. It's coming out this week. You will see it. You'll see the little magazine that will be coming out. Hopefully we'll have that by the end of this week as well. And then the ancient werewolves that we did today. Those we have to post at some point, maybe after the silver thing. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, David.
Yeah, thank you so much, Val.
I'll see you soon. Goodbye.
Yes. Bye, everyone.
And hey, thank you everybody. Now there's no signal there. Guys, it's fantastic. I've been having a lot of fun with these. 2 weeks from now, we'll have next episode if all goes well. Depending on scheduling, we still don't have anyone locked in, so we might change the dates to be able to find a date that's better for them. We'll see. Depends on who comes. So definitely stay on the lookout. Be on the Discord if you're not already. There you can get if you go to the main welcome channel, you can get a role that lets you know whenever I'm streaming, so you can hopefully not miss the next one. And apart from podcast stuff, tomorrow there's a regular art stream, as well as Wednesday, and not Friday because it's New Year's, but tomorrow and Wednesday for sure. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. I still don't know what I'll be doing, so it'll be a surprise. Thank you, everybody. I will be seeing you real soon. And until then, Take care.